Admiral. Admiral. Admiral.
Hey everybody, welcome. It's your buddy Admiral Teag. How you doing? I'm with my friend Resolute Germ. Hey Germ.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. We put your Star Trek dollars to work. We got some new audio equipment here, so you should be hearing my voice better than ever. Hopefully, it sounds as good as it could be. And we've got a real treat for you tonight. We've been waiting a long time for this, and I put this together from the conclusion of Enterprise on May 13th, 2005 to November 17th, 2024, precisely 19 years, 6 months, and 4 days passed. That was a span of 1,016 weeks and 2 days. For nearly 2 decades, Star Trek fans have wandered through a creative drought, yearning for the profound storytelling, the philosophical depth, and the exploratory spirit that defined the franchise at its peak. For those 19 years, the franchise offered many attempts to recapture its essence, but none have truly succeeded. And some of them have been horrible. That is until now. The 9 minutes of unification feels like and is the first real Star Trek since the lights of the NX-01 dimmed for the last time. It's a revitalization. It's a revisualization. It's a singular piece of artistry that respects both the lore of the universe and the intelligence of its audience. This is a moment crafted not just for entertainment, but for catharsis, a return to form that bridges the golden age of Star Trek with the promise of a brighter future. To see William Shatner as James T. Kirk once again, stepping boldly into that undiscovered country, it was not just a nostalgic joy, it was a reclamation of the franchise's real heart and soul for a few minutes. For those who felt the absence keenly, Unification is a feast for starving fans, rich in reverence, stunning in visuals, and profound in meaning. It's an acknowledgement of the nearly 2 decades we spent adrift, and it's a triumph. It's a moment worth celebrating again and again. With this, we are reminded that Star Trek can still inspire. It can still captivate, unite, and you can rekindle and rekindle the fire that it's burned in our hearts for generations. Let this be the moment where we boldly go forward once more. This was fantastic. Jerm, what did you think of this?
I like this quite a bit. Definitely the best Star Trek we've had in, you said, 19 plus years.
It's absolutely terrible that we've gone so long without it, but yeah. And wow, we have a bunch of people here. Let me extend my greetings to all of you who have so kindly joined us. And we're going in reverse batting order. Mr. House Party 6 is here. Tim, FKHC 2005 is back. I'm back. Hey, he will be meeting the captain in June. I'm so happy for you. He's so amazing. I saw him speak twice. It was great. Thank you so much for Wes Cagle for sharing my Rumble address. Mark Harkness is with us. Orion Broadcast, good talk on X today. Given the subject matter, it's very appropriate to post this stream in the 28-year anniversary of Farce Contact. Yes, and it's also, I think it's the 30. This is in memorial of in reverence of the 30th anniversary of the release of Generations, but I don't know what day what the date of the release was. Was that a summer movie or was that a Christmas movie?
I believe it's spring.
Yeah, right. It's like before the big summer blockbusters, because Star Trek used to be like a Bond sort of franchise. Hello, John the Beagle Dad. Hello, Kanu Kastani. It's very nice to see you. Jonathan Hancock has joined us. We have him here. We have all of our great friends. And I can't tell you how glad I am to have you all here for this great moment. We have been waiting. a very long time. November 18th, 1994. So it came out just about on the day of the anniversary. So it fit into that Bond niche still. I was correct. So before the big holiday movies came out, or before a big summer movie came out, Star Trek works either way. But I think the first scat of movies from the original crew all came out in December, right? They sort of invented the Christmas movie season before it became super competitive. Because I think we had like, there were simply movies released, then there were summer movies that were a big deal, and then there came like a winter movie season. Like the movie industry has managed to make these occasions and these seasons something that we enjoy. But it's been 30 years since this movie. I feel like this redeems that movie. I guess the best thing we can do is I did my warm up. I read how I felt. That's my written review. There'll be a published version of it that goes out. Might be a member video, but yeah, it's 30 years on the nose for that one. Hello, M5. Hail to you, sir. It is good to see our friend the M5. And you know, if you come around long enough and you have a name that has Star Trek sound, I will track it down and I will find it. Right?
This unit is the ultimate achievement in computer evolution.
We had to have that one for our pal the M5. Germ, give me your impressions when you saw this the first time and what you think of it now.
Well, when I first saw it, I had to stop about 3 minutes in just to check, make sure that Bill Shatner was still alive. It came off very heavily as in memoriam for him. But after I got past that, it got very enjoyable.
Did you have any feelings? Did you care? Were you invested in it emotionally?
As much as I can.
Right. Okay. I understand what you mean. For me, it was like this thing came out of almost out of nowhere. And when I saw Rod Roddenberry as one of the producers, what went through my mind is why would he do this? And when I saw it, I was impressed. I realized that the only path to telling this story was through how do you explain it? The only way to tell this story was to go with the 2001: A Space Odyssey meta. You know what I'm saying? You know, that was the only real path to and it's been said there's no dialogue. There is dialogue. It's just not spoken in world. Kirk hears in his head a version of some things he said reflecting on Spock's death. Jason Love, I agree with you on this one. We're going to give it a rating later. And I think, you know, you guys have gone without your say long enough. Why don't we give this what should the poll be? Give it a rating, or is this great? Is this the best Star Trek in 20 years? Yes or no?
Well, greatest Star Trek in 20 years, that's pretty much obvious, so I'd go with a rating.
I'm going to try it like this. Is Unification the greatest Star Trek in 20 years? Yes, it's an A. Yes, it's a B. Yes, it's a C. What do you think?
Yes, it's an A. Yes, it's an A+. Yes, it's an A++. Yes, it's an A S tier.
I'm going to go A+ for this one. I'm going to allow people to vote that one. Yes. Yes, A. We have two more possibilities. B or less, B or C. B. I'll leave room for a B. The final option will be mediocre, or it's mediocre or bad. It would be. I would be shocked. I mean, we could always get trolled, but you know, we'll see. I'm not going to put it's bad. I don't care. It's mediocre. I don't care. I don't care will be the final answer. That'll be fine. That's good enough. I'm not going to put the chance for anyone to say anything pejorative about Star Trek. By the way, this Ensign Colt 84753090210. That's Ensign Colt from the Cage. So she pulls another aspect of Star Trek into this, which is stuff from the menagerie, because she is in real Star Trek in the sense that she's in the menagerie. She has the serial number. I don't know why. I don't know why the Telosians were brought into this, except just to make it more unifying and bring the Pike era in. This doesn't disavow or reconfirm anything, which is why I think it's kind of brilliant. You want to give me your thoughts on that aspect of it, of how this thing does what no one else has done. It has it both ways while having everything its own way.
Yeah, that's one of its best parts. Not trying to shoehorn it into like Kelvin or Prime timeline, or even choosing a side on anything.
It's specifically prime
Everyone can
timeline because
enjoy
young
it.
William Shatner is you know what? You're right. You're right. Now that I think about it, because we see prime Shatner, prime William, we see, and hello everybody. Is it obvious that the national popularity contest must have ended and now they tell people we're on the air? Hi across all platforms, and we're catching up to your chats in real time as we get ready. I guess, by the way, listen, there are passes out there to a bunch of people. This is a celebration, so we're going to have several chances to watch this. This goes with the assumption you've watched it already. If you just can't wait and you want to watch it now, hello J Roar 123. Hello to all of you. Listen, if you want to watch it right now, it's in the description of the show. Go ahead. I understand. If you want to watch it when we watch it in a few minutes, again, go ahead. That's just fine with me. This is a permanent document. I've had a chance to watch it now about 8 or 9 times. I watched it 4 times in a row. So I spent like 35 minutes watching it because, like, of course, the end credits, I could just, restart it from there. It's not a Marvel movie. Like Kirk doesn't beam back into existence. Thank God. I thought that the subtleties of the facial expressions were absolutely incredible with older Shatner walking through that group of people.
They did a great job on the expressions. The matting itself is pretty good. Not perfect, but at a pretty high level, especially for not a major studio connection.
The best way to put this is absolutely nothing about it is bad. The story is really, really good because it doesn't matter what your take is on Star Trek, you can enjoy it. It doesn't matter what your interpretation of the events of any Star Trek movie beyond generations are, you can enjoy it. I guess it confirms the existence of the Nexus, but I've never said there was no Nexus, just that it was a bad plot device. Well, turns out I was wrong. It enabled this. I take it back. The Nexus is an okay plot device because we got this. Although we could have had this without the Nexus, that's another story. But this bails the Nexus out and the movie Generations out just a little bit, honestly. A lot of people don't understand all the hate for Generations. I think one part is because the original Cruise part is better by a lot than the rest of the movie. We feel like we whiffed in the Generation part. It's not terrible, but it's not their best story. There are TV episodes that are significantly better, like yesterday's Enterprise. Let's see. Wow, we got the comments pouring in. So Gap, I'm sorry, Gap. So Germ, your thoughts on the music. And by the way, I'm going to turn my camera on for a minute, but you will not see me. I wanted to include someone else in this broadcast. What do you think, Germ? What do you think the BOP 5, the Bird of Prey 5 opinion of this would have been?
Would have loved it. It would have.
It's somewhat upsetting. Yeah, it brought me to tears. I cried. I did cry. I'm one of the many people who has admitted to crying. And there he is for you to see one more time. Let's just show it to you. There's Bird of Prey 5, our pal. He would have loved this. And I truly feel cheated of the chance to discuss the events of it with him, and I feel that the entire Star Trek community loses out because Bird of Prey 5's reactions are not here for us, because I would have loved to have heard what he had to say. Speaking on my own behalf on this one, it was wonderful. It was wondrous. First of all, I'm going to say it outright. This is Star Trek. We sometimes say, is this Star Trek? Is this not Star Trek? This was Star Trek. He went somewhere, he explored, he went to a new world, a new frontier. This was Star Trek to me. It was more Star Trek and more entertainment than I've gotten from every single minute of Star Trek since 2009 when we started with this cavalcade of bad shit. Germ, your take?
Completely agree. It's even though it has nothing to do with Paramount, they got the essence of Star Trek better than anything they've gotten in the last 19 years.
Well, you answered your own question when you said it wasn't, Hey, Jacob. He was one of the directors, yes, and an executive producer. He directed his body double. Hello. This was what did you think of the let's lay out the story. We see Gary Mitchell. He's a silhouette. It's very 2001: A Space Odyssey. Yeah, this was a little unexpected. I had heard rumors of an outside project from the Star Trek people, but that didn't involve Kurtzman, that involved Rod Roddenberry. I had heard Rod Roddenberry had a change of heart, and I had no reason to believe these things, but I wanted them to be true. And this looks like, could this be, and hello, everybody, could this be the beginning of a face turn for Star Trek?
Possibly. They will have to work out all that contract BS, though.
Hi, Tetrarch. You know what? If we have to pay this guy to go away, and hello, J-Roar, 1, 2, 3. If we have to pay this guy to go away, just pay him. Star Trek will still make money. The problem with, I will read this one in 1 second. Here's the deal. The problem with Star Trek, or its unique position, was that it was a Bond-like franchise in the sense of this. Bond, we like Bond, or I like Bond, and a lot of people love Bond, and there's a place in everyone's heart for Bond, but Bond isn't Star Wars, or, he's bigger now, but well, maybe not after that movie, but Bond isn't Star Wars, Bond isn't Harry Potter. Bond isn't has never been, say, the top 5 franchises. He's been number 6 for 50 years. Somewhere up there in the mix, always getting another movie, always making his money back, progressively, able to build a larger and larger following, more and more bankable. And what do you do with James Bond? You keep him at the edge of big movie release periods. Movie theaters love to see James Bond because he shows up right before all the big Christmas movies. Am I right? And he's a sure thing.
Yeah. He's not going to break the box office, but he's not going to break the bank getting the movie out.
You're going to make your house payment that month. You're not going to have a bad month. You're going to be happy. You're going to have a little extra, but you're not going to be buying a new car, but you're going to get current on the car you had. Let's see. Someone posted X the whole story from OTOY. These are the people who made it. And I can't find it, but Colt's behind everything, using everything from the memory wall, from V'ger to Gary Mitchell. There is a moment here where I did think I saw V'ger. I was going to get to that. So yeah, we see Gary Mitchell. Gary Mitchell's played by Gary Lockwood, as we found out. And it's prosthetics and CGI, and that's how Shatner portrays 63-year-old Kirk, at least most of the time. I think they might have someone else doing some of it, but to be honest with you, I've seen William Shatner in the last 18 months, and he can walk and he can talk, and his voice is exactly the same, and he has boundless energy. He doesn't need any help. He's not feeble in the least. He looks like he's 70. He was bouncing around for 2 straight hours without a break. He was more energetic than me. So he may have done all of the acting for himself, but they still used a CGI environment. And it's an idealized Captain Kirk, would you say? Face is a little thinner, body's a little thinner, but not ridiculously different.
Yeah, it definitely had a little nip or a tuck.
He had the CGI face
to make him look.
CGI gastric bypass, CGI plastic surgery, but not radical.
No, perfectly believable. You'd think Bill Shatner just walked out of his surgeon's office in Hollywood.
It looked a hell of a lot better than the plastic surgery or CGI plastic surgery that we saw in Picard 3 on Riker and Picard, where they looked like cats. But I think that's because Bill Shatner had a facelift and then maybe another one at 60. But he had that facelift and it was set in by the time Generations was made, and he had whatever, he had gotten it together. And from then till now, he has not had more plastic surgery. But I think that Picard and Riker, aka Stewart and Frakes, I think they've had facelifts since Next Generation, so that when we try to de-age them by putting markers on their current face, shit isn't where it would have been. That's why it doesn't work. What do you think of that theory? Or it was just cheap? Which one do you think it was? Both?
Yeah, both. But Frank's definitely had at least some Botox.
Yeah, he's definitely had something. He has catty looking. He sort of has feline looking eyes, and it shows when they show his CGI de-aging. This was a lot better than Picard. This was a lot better than anything we've seen from any new Trek, and I profoundly enjoyed it. I guess we'll see who shows up, and I guess the first viewing will be about 1:30. This will give us plenty of time to watch and react. So that's about 9 minutes off. Let's see. It wasn't a fantastic moment of self-sacrifice. It was a fantastic moment of self-sacrifice. He held on to the scaffolding long enough to unlock control panel. No, he's not most likely not going to make it. That's what I mean when I say the problem with Generations is you're immediately let down, because when Captain Kirk dies, the whole movie is like womp, womp, womp. And then like it starts to pick up with this weird joyous scene with the Next Generation crew on the wooden ship having the marriage ceremony with the Rikers. Am I correct? That's our
Yeah,
cut
that's
forward,
the beginning.
flash forward. Right. That's how we flash forward from the end. Scotty says I, and we see the stars, and then we hear the Next Generation's music, and we see the ceremony on the wooden ship of the original Enterprise. But it is, of course, a holodeck ceremony for the Rikers to get married, Riker and Troy. So
it's for Worf being promoted to lieutenant.
Promoted. That's right. Sorry.
Marriage is the last movie.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I realized it after it dawned on me that Gianna was also wearing a uniform. It's a promotion ceremony. That's why he has to go out there and grab whatever that is, a hat off a stick or whatever it might be. I don't know. Hey, Tetrarch, it's good to see you. It's good to see Mark Harkness. If Kirk is to die on screen, he ought to die on the bridge, not under a bridge. This, unfortunately, can't fix that, but it does give us Chad Hale's back. Guys, this does give us a much, much, much more satisfying ending than we got before. And wow, the comments are rolling in. Let me see if I can catch up or at least narrow the distance while I at least highlight them. The next thing that happens is after Gary Mitchell sort of opens his eyes and shows his silvery irises, I guess what we're supposed to believe is, despite the fire and stuff, I guess that's the fire of destruction or creation that he's been through to become more of a deity-like entity, and he now no longer has the malice that he had. He now is benevolent. Is that the supposition? Because he was on the path to being harmless.
Could be.
Why enable this unless you're benevolent? He has to be benevolent. Oh, well, about the fire, you mean?
Yeah, that he's a little bit more benevolent, and in the end, he felt bad for what he did to Kirk, and he helps him and Spock out at the end.
Hello, Miskatonic. Your guys are all in for a treat. Solo's death was pointless and meaningless. I agree. Although the Solo movie, after they destroyed Han Solo, was a great movie. Jerm, I don't know about you, but you know how I felt walking out of the Han Solo movie?
Probably better than I did.
How did you feel?
Vomiting.
Yeah, I know. I was sick about the story, but this was my cope. You ready? I'm now taller than Han Solo. I am now cooler than Han Solo. I am now at least as good as a pilot as Han Solo. I am now better with women than Han Solo. And I could kick the shit out of that Han Solo. So I felt like that movie was like a win-win for me. But I mean, the story sucked, and it sucked for Star Wars because that was like a punch in the gut with the Last Jedi, and then just a knee right to the balls with Solo. Oh, you know what else I felt like? I was like, I have cooler friends than Solo. I don't know anyone who has sex with a fucking robot. Although, well, LDG is scheduled to be a guest on a future episode, so we may find out I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, you know,
I
some
might
pretty
have
weird
one
people.
friend. I do now after doing this for 2 years, and I've had a lot of like weird revelations, and I know all of you guys, and I love all of you, and we've done it. This year was an outright win for everybody. They said we couldn't save Star Trek. I said Star Trek could be saved, and I said I would do it, and only I could save it. Since I said that I would save Star Trek, what has happened? Well, the Kelvin movie was canceled again. Since I said I would save Star Trek, what has happened? Star Trek Discovery came to a deserved end. The final after running of a failed engine. It is just bullshit. Otoy is not Roddenberry's heir. Otoy, I believe, is either the limited company put together just for this, or Otoy is the special effects people. The special effects people were the ones who wanted this, and like most things that really stretch special effects, it does stretch special effects to the point of absolute credulity once in a while. But that is the job of these projects in a way. So I accept that as part of the art form. And now this is an art form and this is art. Jerm, your reaction to that rather robust statement by me?
As humble as ever, aren't you?
Thank you. Yes, I am. I did fix it. But what do you think about this as an art form? It sort of almost necessitates that you take, when you do something of this nature, you are obligated to push it so far that it is to the edge of credulity, because you're doing this as a statement that you can, again, in the future, maybe do something more believable and better. This was the best of this type of CGI we've seen. Recreation, de-aging.
And this is what Star Trek should be in the future. Star Trek, at this point, should be public domain, and it should be up to everyone to make their own thing, and something like Unification and just all sorts of stuff. Let people go in their own direction. Complete free for all.
These guys are the outright stakeholders and part of all parts of Star Trek. So that's why no one could stop them. And that's why it has everything but the music, because that would have required a material investment with Jerry Goldsmith. Although I think his estate would have been like, you can absolutely have the opening flourish of Star Trek. That's the only thing this is missing. We have a pretty high res version, so get your machines ready, folks. This is an adventure. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I also enjoyed watching it over and over. What someone meant, M5, you said you saw that photograph. I looked and looked. Where did you see the photograph? It was great because it was Shatner. That is the difference. I'm an old tech caveman. Don't worry, Jason Love. So am I. I had to have LDG tune up my computer. And while I was doing it, he took a look at my log and he's like, why do you have all this spyware? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, everyone says that, but I know what you've been doing with your computer. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, I know where you've been. And it's like, it's not like I use this thing to teach children how to count. Okay. Don't give me any shit about where I go. But I don't know what he's talking about. I have no problem with Kirk dying. Kirk dying has been kind of a trope in the EU. How many books has he died in?
I think 2 or 3.
At least, right?
Never
died in the show. He died in the show on screen for us, as far as we knew, for one whole commercial break until he came back at the end of that next segment as the Vulcan. There's no such thing as the Vulcan death grip. That was great stuff. So kind of rusing the death of Captain Kirk's been a big deal. And everyone's saying hello to their favorite co-host, Resolute Germ. And everyone's saying, taking their hats off and saluting their favorite, Star Trek, streamer, Bob 5, and he would have been really, really pleased with this. I think Clobby would have been really pleased. I feel confident in saying Clobby really would have been pleased. I'm not speaking on his behalf. I'm saying that is my impression. There are people who are closer to Clobby that should be asked that question. I'm interested in knowing what some of them would think. If Mark D with the C is out there, he could tell us probably with a greater degree of accuracy, but I would think so. So you didn't take a chance to watch it? All right, guys. It is the moment of truth. This is when I promised. Jerm and I have seen it, so I mean, we sort of have an obligation to keep the stream going. This is we are going to special edition it. If you want to watch this by itself without us, we totally understand. The initial run will be without subtitles. I think that's fair because there is almost no dialogue anyway. There's no point. You don't need to see the subtitles in parentheses that say atmospheric music playing. Am I right? Good call.
Yeah. Don't need the subtitles.
The only spoken word in here is when Kirk is looking down the long hallway and we see what might be V'ger. We hear the recalled dialogue that may have been respoken of Spock had said there are always possibilities. If that is true, I must return to this place, that undiscovered country. So it's a mashup. It's new. It's things we've heard him say before, but it's new and it's in a new way. So with no further ado, it is now 30 minutes into our presentation. We are so glad every one of you is with us. This 10-minute and 44-second episode of Star Trek is the final episode of the final chapter of the final movie of the original series. And a worthy chapter it is. My friends, it is with great pleasure and a long ado and hope not to be overwhelmed too much emotionally that I present to you Star Trek. I will call it that. Star Trek Unification on 3, 2, 1, and action. How we deal with death is how we deal with life is on screen. And immediately the first thing we know is there's no mistake already. The sound of the explosion is just the right volume and just the right amount of intensity to not be annoying. So sound design is already good.
Yeah.
Gary Mitchell's aged back just a bit from the end of that episode, so he might have recovered from what was stressing him. I don't know what this is. Is that Colt? That's Colt, right? So now we see the park-like planet. Do you have any idea what this statue is supposed to be, or it's just there to be there?
No idea.
It's not a statue of Gene.
It looks like it's supposed to be Vulcan.
It's possible, yeah. If not Pan. So they go as far as they can into the Star Trek theme without committing musical plagiarism. Look at this, just glorious. This is where we really find out that William Shatner's facial acting is next level. Look at this, guys. And they hired the right guy to play this role. Think about it. He's more emotional than Spock because he's half Vulcan, one quarter human, and one quarter Romulan. So this is where I believe we get some V'ger-like imagery, right? What do you think of this?
A little bit of the imagery, but I don't think it's supposed to be V'ger.
That people have theories that do not have to be right or wrong because this took the right approach to that shit. It's V'ger-like, but it also is tactilely different. His clothes look perfect. And look, this to me was not at all uncanny. This was great. This looks perfect, doesn't it?
Yeah. think they cut it directly out of the 4K.
Well, his face is over another actor. I saw the other actor. I believe we see his face before the ripple in the water while the water's still distorted. I think we get one clean look at the face actor. And I think that's the kind of thing that would mean something to William Shatner as well. You know, he would want that guy to get credit. Unless you mess with him, William Shatner seems to be very nice to everyone.
Yeah.
That said, people still mess with him.
Unless you get on his bad side and talk bad about his horses.
Or imply that he's lying about something. There are always possibilities. If Genesis is indeed life from death, I must return to this place again. That's not exactly how it was spoken in the movie, is it?
Pretty close.
It was said, Genesis is life from lifelessness. And hello, everybody. Hello to my friend Critically Thinking and Drinking. I should have known you were active out there. I'm sorry I'm behind on all chats, but this is what the greatest day in the last 20 years of Star Trek. We haven't gotten Star Trek this good in 19 years. We haven't gotten Star Trek in 19 years. Hello to my friend Sithan. Good one, Sithan. Sam Witwer was.
They did a very good job with the music.
It's great. It's Star Trek appropriate. This guy couldn't score a Star Trek movie. Yeah, hit that like button, guys. And thanks, M5. Earning your wrench. You are the best, M5.
This unit is the ultimate achievement in computer evolution.
Well, guys, there you have it. I'm going to pick a moment. I'll freeze the screen. Germ, as first officer, your job is to remind me to take this down when it's time to put it back up. But to start to play it again. But we just watched it again. I narrated it. I will try to keep up with the comments as best I can by highlighting them. But I've had a lot to say on this. Germ, unwind.
A very fitting tribute to Nimoy, and will be a very fitting tribute for Shatner when his time finally comes.
May it not be for many a long year, but yes, and good health to the great guy. This is a mighty gift from William Shatner. This is what he meant when he was alluding that he would return to the role but never work for the new Trek people. He was good. He had something up his fucking sleeve. How long did this take to make? And when you're working with a 93-year-old man, from the reach out points to the point of completion, if that was even 11 months, can you imagine how nerve-wracking? The longer it goes, the more shit I give him. I think I know what you're talking about. M5 is looking for a new power source, Mark. The wedding is in Star Trek Nemesis. We got that. Yeah, I'm sorry about that one. My mistake. We all have minor malfunctions. Admiral Teag, we can have real Star Trek now. That is great. Maybe the next license holder of Star Trek will let it happen. I want to speak that for a moment. Thank you, by the way, critically. You kick ass too. Here's the comment. We can have real Star Trek back now. That is great. Maybe the next license holder will let it happen. I'm going to put a pin in this comment, and I'm going to leave critically's banner up there so you know for a good Twitter follow, X follow. He's up to 30K now. He was at 30K last week, right? Or last month. And then everyone thought that it was because they were a dick about the popularity contest or being too strong. But it turns out that everyone else is a dick too. What it was X and YouTube did a bot purge. And they purged away like lurker accounts, garbage accounts, and accounts that are just like gone, that never did anything. Accounts that have never interacted, accounts that never like anything. You know what I mean? It got rid of just deadwood. It doesn't count them anymore. Maybe they could be reactivated by someone, but they're not part of the statistics anymore. And those accounts, so everyone's subscriber count went down. Maybe it pops up if someone re-engages their old account. But so that happened. And I wish they would sweep away my old account that I can't go inside and deactivate, but that's neither here nor there. The Captain Teague account was unfairly struck for hating on Harfoots under old Twitter. Sorry. Twitter was a hellhole. X is a lot cooler. I'll give it that. And welcome to all of you on X. There's a pinned post on my X that has a link to see the next performance of Star Trek Unification, because we're going to watch it again. It's brief as could be. There is no need to watch all the credits. And, this is pretty good example of what you get here. It's an idealized Captain James Tiberius Kirk as he would see himself in the Nexus. So I feel like it's okay. What did you think of the rendering of him as we saw this iteration of Kirk?
It's much better than I remembered it. The issues I saw with his face were much more limited than when I first did the first viewing of it.
When we saw young Kirk from TOS reflected in the water, I think before the first ripple, it's Sam Witmer or Whitker, whatever the name of the body capture actor is for that one. I believe that they found him because he had like a pretty close face to Shatner, and I think that he may have used what was going on here was whoever played Shatner at any given time, if it wasn't him when it was Whitmer, that guy wore like face mocap, whatever, and Shatner kind of showed him how to act and move, and then they used CGI to match it up to the way Shatner himself would make those gestures and looks, and then Shatner himself would coach and sort of work with everyone on that part of it. And because there is only one line of dialogue that we don't really, it's narration. It's not dialogue, it's narration. There's one line of narration. It's very meta. And it's changed just a little so no one has to pay for it. The first thing I would say is up until the point Kirk materializes and sort of realizes that he's got a corporal form again and he's on this golf course planet and he heads towards his structure and sees these people, is that he's not wearing his Starfleet logo. And I was wondering if that was them pushing back at first, weren't you?
Yeah, it might have been a little bit of a subtle thing.
Something happens later that blows that assumption out of the water. They actually did a really good job of playing with the Starfleet logo and showing it to you because he's handed something by someone. Is it Savick? Or is he handed?
No, it's
himself.
I'm not sure who that alien is, but
oh yeah, that's right.
Purplish
that guy doesn't fit in with anything else that I can think of. If he's Kelvin or New Trek, then that would be something. And he might be, because I got no idea why he's there.
Yeah, I don't even alien species.
He's wearing a TNG 1.0 uniform with the piping. Yeah, this is true, by the way, Mark. Yeah, Setspotsky. Yeah, that Solo movie was just so destructive. The Han Solo. The Star Trek movies were bad for Captain Kirk, but that Solo movie in just like 2 hours, just destructive to That was like the completion of brand destruction. When you saw that movie, you're like, nope, seeing's believing. This is how they like it.
Yeah, pretty much.
When I came out of the movie, I was wearing a Star Wars t-shirt because I still wasn't ashamed of it yet. And this chick saw me and she goes, how was it? And I went, you know what? It was only all right. Maybe. I think. And she was like, wow. And I'm like, yeah. And now it would just be like, was it any good? It would be more what people would say. So assumptions really have changed in the time since Last Jedi. With Star Trek, it's been much longer. We've been in a long, deep decline. At some point, Kirk gets handed his Starfleet. I guess it's not a comm badge. It's his badge. It's his admiral's badge.
Yeah, it's just
right?
the icon that they all wear.
Well, his is a little bit better than everyone else's. I think. I think he has a different color and a little more grandiose stuff around the size of it. I think his Starfleet logo is the same size, but I think the stuff around it is a little bigger to show he's an admiral. I think everyone else's is like, I think they're all rank reflective now. Like that was their thing for this one. But whatever it is, like he when he puts that badge on and you see unambiguously that it's the Star Trek logo, there was just kind of like a flood of validation and relief ran over me. And I just wish that someone had given like some money to and this could still happen, by the way. The music was great, but it wouldn't hurt if we intruded on the very beginning of it with a few more seconds of darkness, just space or something, and had that bam, 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 and then started with the new score. It wouldn't hurt anything. Just extend the movie 8/10 of a second, you know? Would that hurt? What do you think?
It would have helped a good deal.
If they had played the actual Star Trek music, you're talking like having an even stronger reaction. Hey, LDG. LDG is the reason you got this stream. He definitely is a major reason. He should use his wrench to put in his channel. LDG Free the Net is LDG Free the Net's vision and the coming Prometheus project, which will deliver pizza and end the world. If I have that straight. Do I have that right?
Yeah, I'll give you pizza. They'll do pretty much everything for you. Before you even want it.
See, here's the thing. Yeah, you're right. Here's the thing. The only thing that I saw in there in the multiple watches, and we'll watch it again in a while, was did you notice that when Spock, first of all, he's drinking earth water. Okay, no need to think about that one. He has a glass of water next to his bed for no apparent reason, just like I do. But you know what was really weird about that is there was like some weird just thing sitting on it, like a knickknack that looked like from Bed Bath and Beyondish sort of a thing. And I guess that to me was maybe the photo album that it was supposed to be from. Robert Meyer Burnett. I don't have anything against him personally, but I just never have enjoyed his Star Trek punditry that much. And I would enjoy a chance to talk to him about Star Trek a little bit because I bet you he could beat me in chapter and verse. But when it came to the spirit of Star Trek, I think I'd be able to pose some questions that everyone would like to hear him answer, like how you could say Captain Picard is an admiral in that Picard 3 thing that he said is good, but everyone's hailing LDG. And Reverend Burnfried is just a great guy. He's another great X-Follower, by the way. Well, when Picard spoke about his time helping the Klingon Empire, the KDF ambassador said, your humbleness is part of being human. I won't hold it against you, or something like that at Mr. House Party 6.
Now you're playing.
Yeah, I only played like that was much shorter than Common Domain. By the way, I don't think that there's going to be the kind of strictness on this. People said Paramount is involved. I don't think Paramount is. By the way, that did give you a 1/10 of a second to see just he made a couple of expressions and looked knowingly at someone there. That's the level of art. Look how much expression change in just what I gave you was. I can do this too. I can advance this just a little bit. Look at that. That is really expressive. Excuse me?
Great facial actor. That is always his strong suit.
And the fact that he's doing this with some help and with some CGI and with some motion capture and with some, this is just, and the texture of his clothing is perfect. I saw a couple of images that people pulled from here where they themselves must have messed with them a little bit, where his face looked fine, but his clothes look like shit. His clothes could look better, but all the money in this went to his face. And I would say this too. This can be retroactively enhanced and retroactively given Star Trek music too. This is just the beginning of this. I don't know if I want to take the story any further, but I'm saying this, with each generation of technology, there are original files that can be enhanced and improved. Germ, what do you think of the future for this?
I think they don't maybe add a little bit more of the Star Trek music, but beyond that, don't mess with it.
Is it okay if I pretend Ensign Colt sort of doesn't exist? Because her, like, what would, she's in, just a cage. I don't know what her relationship is to Kirk. I guess Lockwood's supposed to know her, but like he's supposed to be on the ship because of Kirk. All right, she would be maybe a little higher up the chain of command by the time Kirk gets there. It's like 13 years later or some shit like that. So I'm a little confused by Colt's involvement. I guess that's someone whose mind Gary Lockwood read, and maybe he she's part of made an impression on him that helped swing him back to goodness, and so he remembers her because of maybe hearing about the Telosian ordeal and talking to her about it, and now he's godlike so he can experience it. I just don't know what to tell you. The number seems to be just so it doesn't have the same title as an episode of TNG.
Yeah.
It's like we've got this comic book thing that relates to the first episode. What's wrong with it? Is that maybe what it was?
It's a good possibility.
All right, here she is, ladies and gentlemen, Robin Curtis. She looks great for her age, but she was not immediately strikingly recognizable. You had to see the ears, right? Did Amanda go through your head for a moment? This wasn't when we first saw her. We first see her full-on face.
Yeah, at first I couldn't tell who it was, and then the ears and dead giveaway.
And the eyes, and the fact that they gave her the curly hair. You know what? Or they let us see her curly hair. I thought it was good to see Savick again. It's been a long time between views. And then I guess I think he's called Sparvik? Sparvik? I don't know. But he's confirmed, and there's reactions to him, but he's not in. And he was cut from, and there was stuff filmed to keep him out of Star Trek 3 as an infant. So he wouldn't be old enough to be dead. And Savick, maybe not either, but because Leonard Nimoy's character is only on the edge of it, and he's less Vulcan than she is, and his son is less human than Spock. So he would theoretically have as long a life or longer as Spock. So this would seem to be validating that Kirk is just seeing these things to me. What do you think? Or is Savick in the great beyond as well? I didn't notice she's wearing a Star Trek logo. Look at that. It's subtle.
I think that's supposed to be the Vulcan insignia.
It's the Kolinar, but the Kolinar has been, when we see Spock's Kolinar, it's been laid out so that we can see that there is sort of a Star Trek logo intruding into it, but it's been restylized. And maybe we've always missed it, and Gene Roddenberry was sort of doing something there with the way that circle has the arrowhead coming in from the side. It doesn't look exactly like the Delta logo, but do you know what I mean? Maybe.
Yeah, it's always, as far as I can remember, it's always been like that.
So at any rate, yeah, it might be her Kolinar, but the Kolinar, the way it's stylized here, they've moved that towards the middle instead of being at the edge. So it's very Star Trek looking and very Starfleet looking. And at the same time, it is neither the Kolinar nor the Star Trek logo. So no more need to aggravate the Paramount lawyers who they were hoping would leave them alone out of embarrassment. And it seems to me like this comes out at a time where New Paramount has just been given a shot across the bow by a lackluster cartoon that they might keep because it doesn't really lose money. And we all, as Star Trek fans, I think we should watch more of this. I think we should watch it again, see this fountain, whatever. And then we didn't know what the hell was up with this strange alien.
Yeah, I can't even place the species.
Is he Kelvin-esque? Is he? I was trying to figure out if he was Kelvin.
I don't even remember him from that.
I don't know what the hell kind of alien this is. We'll get through the comments in a minute. Let's see. Let's go through a couple more while we look at this strange alien. Maybe someone knows something we don't. Let me run down to the bottom of the comments and see if anyone's chiming in right now. M5 says Kirk came out of the Nexus in Picard's time, so yeah, they would be older. You're right, because this does acknowledge the Nexus. The thing is, James T. Kirk is 80 years before the beginning of the Next Generation, because 50-year-old Dr. McCoy is 120, and they say it's 80 years. So by the time we get to Star Trek Generations, we're about 87 to 90 years after the original series, correct? Or after what they say is their last movie, or after what they say is their first voyage, correct?
After
what they say is their first
7 years for TNG, and
say 3 to 5 years as a
13
movie.
years from I believe it was 13 years between 6 and when they're supposed to be on the B.
That's true.
So you just add that with the 78 that they say the time jump is in Generations.
The time jump in Generations gets cut down to something like 67 years because an older Captain Kirk is swept away while McCoy is somewhere else at a safe and aging somewhere else because he wouldn't beam onto the ship for the ceremony. But that would be, we get from Dr. McCoy it being 120 years old and we know that he's 50 in year 1 of the first series, that said somewhere. And Hail Lombardi, 1969, and it's not on screen. I can't put it on screen, but there is a link in the chat. At least, Germ, the link is in fact in the chat, right? That's how you saw it. And greetings to everyone. Yeah, the silhouette of the ponytail is cult. There's like 4 different things about the silhouette that make it look like her. There's a new cult actress. I don't know who it is we see in white walking towards that circle from way above and behind. Maybe I don't remember that correctly. I'd like to see it again. The statue's Athena. I hadn't considered it as Athena, but it could be. Like, wouldn't she have a bow? But okay, it's Athena.
Artemis has the bow.
Artemis has the bow, but isn't Artemis Roman Athena?
Not exactly.
Okay. Why can't you guys see it? Did you not see it in the Cosme? Because I'm still seeing it in the Cosme.
It is still in the Cosme. The Cosme link is behind the poll. You just have to close the poll to get to the Cosme link.
You know what? You guys had a chance to see it. I guess we could. Dare we close the poll?
Might as well.
Yeah, my executive officer has made his decision about the poll. Let's see. All right, let's see where we're at as far as votes go. We have 25 votes. It's pretty good. Yes, A plus, 88%. Yes, A, 12%. 0% B. I don't care, 0%. We'll leave it up there for 5 more minutes, but the theater is above that. So if you want to see stuff, and these comments are old. I think a lot of people did figure it out because we're now 27 minutes past the comment. So I'm trying to, the statue looks like Athena Paulus to me. Myrta, yeah, it's a little ambiguous. People are taking very good guesses. Kirk's continuous mission to boldly go where no man has gone before is commendable. Yes, it is. And yeah, just don't worry about it. I'm always going to do my best to bail you guys out. And you guys hear me verbally glitch and misfire all the time on the polls with the spelling. So don't worry about it. I instantly recognized Savick as the Orion broadcast when I first saw Unification this week. I had seen Savick first in the pre-publicity as she looks now, so I did recognize her, but I wasn't totally positive. I wanted to see the ears to be sure it wasn't some form of someone playing Amanda, because you could see how they might look similar. And that wasn't so different from how Amanda was presented. Yeah, you got V'ger? You got V'ger feels from it? You found the story on Reddit. Post the Reddit link. I love his cameo on Fanboys. William Shatner. I can score. Yeah, I love William Shatner. In Fanboys too. Yeah, I can score anything. Did you see Fanboys, Jerm?
I don't think so.
It's they're trying to break into the Lucas Ranch, so the Skywalker Ranch, so that they can see Phantom Menace before it's released, and so they need the blueprints for it. And they find out someone can get them for them, and they go somewhere and they go into this dark room, and you see like a shadowy figure, and it's like, you want these, and you see a desk and like a manila envelope flops onto it, and you see like some schematics come out, and it's like he's like, thank you, and like he looks up and William Shatner steps forward out of the shadows. It's like, you, and he's like, what? And he's like, let's just say I don't like to see the competition flourish. It was pretty good. It was pretty good, and it was the William Shatner who didn't take himself seriously. How did it stay so secret?
Worth a watch.
It stayed secret simply because when it was talked about by William Shatner, no one was sure whether he was talking about new Star Trek or not, and because the new Star Trek contract is so ironclad. It stayed secret because people like Midnight's Edge have equally credible stories that Kurtzman is gone and Kurtzman is staying. So they also lost a lot of sources when Paramount downsized and lost a lot of people. People say Paramount is involved in this and they have a producer. That producer may have been there just to say Paramount was involved in it. I would like to know more, and we're going to find out more. Right now, it doesn't matter that much. People are still voting in this poll. So just I will re-announce where the Streamlabs link is and maybe drop it in there again. But you know what? I love you guys, and I can't believe that we were lucky enough to finally get some really good Star Trek. I don't think there's been a time until now on this channel where I have reviewed a new Star Trek project where I've been like, it's great. Look at that. Look at that. Now I only see one person in a Starfleet-esque uniform.
Yeah, those aren't custom. Wherever they filmed this, those were the statues that are sitting there.
I think what I want to say is I see two people in Starfleet uniforms. That weird alien and the guy behind Kirk in the white Starfleet dress. It looks like white Starfleet dress uniform. Yeah. Everyone else is wearing something like a toga, and some people are wearing clothes that look like they're from units. My impression is that these are, if they needed actors, they had them. But based on the fact that people are mostly older and stuff like that, I think that these were the investors. And I think that these are the coders and the people who did this as a labor of love. I don't think that this casting was about and it didn't matter who these people were. These people could have been CGI ghosts. It didn't matter who they were. The fact that there were real people who were there gave this a verisimilitude that your brain noticed. This alien was real. The person whose William Shatner's face was painted on was real. And oh, wow. We have coming to join us for the second viewing in a little while, another member of the Saving Star Trek crew. Let me beam him right to the bridge. We have our pal Sean Carter. Hey, let me change the layout here so we can see Sean. There we go. What's up? Good to see you.
Yeah, I got my cigar, got my whiskey. I'm ready to go.
How great is it that we have new Star Trek worth reviewing? That was great. That was profound. 120 people on X tuned into this watch party. Guys,
oh, wow.
If you look at the pinned post when we go back to the video to show you the whole thing, you'll be able to see that. Did anyone else see the Critical Drinkers video about this?
I saw it.
What did you think? I'm Not Crying, You're Crying is the title?
Yeah, I thought it was really, he hit the spot right there, you know?
And this is a man known for biting sarcasm. That's how he made his bones. What did you think? Did you see the video, Jeremy?
I have not.
Drinker was, at the end he's like, that's all I've got for you now. Go away. Go away now. That's all I've got for you.
Yeah, he was really like melancholy the way he ended it.
He said,
That's
all I
have
got for you now.
Go away, Nick.
Go away now. Yeah, it was like Drinker's Log started 11.22-24. I saw a Star Trek movie that made me cry. The return of James Tiberius Kirk, played by William Shatner. It goes to show something that, and Disney Sheepherder has a past too, so maybe he'll come by. But he's X'd a little at Shatner, and I have a little too. But there's only one, only he can really play this role. Only he is really Captain Kirk, and even in this guise with some CGI puppetry, this Captain Kirk is infinitely preferable than anything we've seen in the last 7 or 8 years with their fake Captain Kirk.
Yeah. So, and I apologize for being late, but where are we
Oh,
in the
you're not late.
discussion?
Well, here's the thing. Because the movie's 10 minutes long, what we did was we talked about it. Jeremy gave all his thoughts, and I think like guests will come and go until we get to 9:30. Well, we'll probably end it. So we are at the beginning of your part of the discussion, and I think Jeremy is going to get ready to beam out of here, if not now, very soon. Right? Your time here is coming to a close.
Yeah, in about 10 minutes or so, I'm gonna have to get going.
We have revolving panelists. So, Germ, Sean, I have you both here together. If you guys, we have all broken down a bunch of Star Trek together in the last few weeks. I consider us a great Star Trek reviewing crew, getting better. The enthusiasm takes us, all where we need to be. And what do you guys, if between each other, you have anything you want to say? What sticks out to you the most? Talk to each other for me.
Well, I'll cede to Germ because he's got to get going soon. So,
I'd just like to point out first, ROTNZ, thanks for the $5.
RRTNZ, we put something on here for people who give us a super chat. It's this. I want to thank our friend RRTNZ for helping in this idea. Saving Star Trek is brought to you by the genius of Gene Roddenberry, the commanding performances of William Shatner, the staff of Saving Star Trek, and Star Trek fans like RRTNZ who make it possible for us to play the real Star Trek music, because fuck monetization, I don't really care. And if we can play real Star Trek music during our real Star Trek show, you know what? This is fitting it. This was... Oh, here we go. How's that for super chat sound?
Very good.
RRTNZ, thank you so much. The reason everyone in Star Trek in the Mirror Universe is evil is because that universe, Kurtzman and J.J. Abrams invented Star Trek. Oh, you're so right. I absolutely agree with you. Everyone in that Kelvin Mirror universe, the Kelvin universe and the Weirdo universe is absolutely evil. They don't understand morality. They don't understand friendship. You can't have romance because no one need no man. The episode where Kirk kissed Khan's descendant, when Kirk and Connie were kissing, within 2 minutes, Kirk gets gadded down pointlessly while Connie tries to save him from a mugger. It was so stupid because he kissed her. You know what I mean? He had to die. It was. This is nothing like that. Like, we got to get an enjoyable Star Trek story. I mean, and look at the way he takes his badge. Look at the way he hasn't looked at the badge yet. He knows from feeling it is James. Maybe he glances down, but I think James Tiberius Kirk knows from feeling this.
Yeah. Now, I was surprised that the drinker didn't mention some of the stuff that Doomcock brought up, because this character here is in the Abrams verse. This TNG character that gives him that thing.
That's why people are swearing up and down it's Kelvin.
Yeah. And also the person at the very beginning, you see the little museum where Kirk's body supposedly is laying.
They do say that we see those interfaces, but just because we see those interfaces doesn't mean similar interfaces don't exist in a world that doesn't include the Kelvin. You know what I don't know if it confirms or denies it. Remember, he's seeing this from a perspective of he just came out of the Nexus and now he's dying. So he's having a combination of influences, is my impression. But we want to thank RRTNZ. The Wrath of COD music should do it, though, I think. Did that get you going for our podcast?
What's that?
Did that get you going for our sci-fi podcast?
Oh, sure. that is a perfectly legitimate explanation, and I'm glad that the drinker didn't bring that up, because I saw it too. I got a little annoyed. I didn't get annoyed at it. Let me take that back. I knew I could get annoyed at it, but I'm like, I'm seeing William Shatner here. I am not going to let myself get pissed off by something that was so small. I'm just going to enjoy this thing.
Another thing that was so small is I think the Paramount guy comes on after the fact to just sign papers that say this is Paramount, or this is not a Paramount sin.
Probably.
I think that's all he did. And if he was probably from the old Paramount, there were just the last thing old Paramount did was show us a version of Star Trek on a trailer, but that was it. That included nothing really from new Star Trek. Exteriors of ships. So we don't know how much he had to do with it. There is only one writer. They did this with only 3 producers. Wow. New Trek needs 20.
Well, not only that, but one of the producers was William Shatner. The other one was Nimoy. And then you had the real producer.
Right? Nimoy's likeness was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think it was his wife or daughter that was the other executive producer.
His estate is involved. I think it's just his whole estate.
Oh, well, it has a name, a Nimoy name.
Oh, then it's probably his son.
Yeah, I believe it's his kid.
His son directs.
But yeah, you're
not
right. That
this, but in general,
of him is uncanny. God, there's so much to unpack in that episode. I mean, I could take that, like, every frame has something to talk about in that thing.
It's a document to our love of Star Trek. Spicy question, but no mean one. When Saavik had sex with teenage Spock on the Genesis planet, how did she get pregnant by him? It wasn't even by Ponfar or Vulcan men that potent. She keeps having sex with them while they're on Vulcan, and it's too cringe to contemplate.
No, the men are
right. Vulcan women can just have sex.
Right.
That must be why they like Earth guys so much. Can you imagine back on Vulcan? Earth men are easy.
I think T'Pol in Enterprise, correct me if I'm wrong, I think she hints that they don't just do it every 7 years. They have to every 7 years, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen at other times.
At least for the women. By the way, I here to enjoy this with us. I think Bob 5 would be very, very, very pleased if. Whoops! Let's take the comment down. I think he would very much enjoy this.
Oh yeah.
And there he is.
Oh, he would have loved this, man.
Very, very well done. We deserve something. We've been waiting long. It's been forever. It's been forever, and we have been through hell.
Yeah, and are you guys? And
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to ask both of you: was the length of this enough for you?
I would have liked 5 more minutes, but the thing is, it was perfect. So why question it? And by the way, here's my answer. This guy's not wearing a JJ verse uniform that excludes the fact that we could have just had these aliens in TNG. So there's my in-world for dismissing JJ. We had the costumes we had. We got JJ's makeup people. The TNG makeup people are old and retired. They couldn't do it anymore. They had to get what they could get. Worf's not here either. You know, I don't know what to tell you on this one. I feel you. I feel everyone. But I feel the drinker didn't pick up on this because he feels the same way I do. So what if it's a Kelvin Trek iteration of an alien? They're wearing a full-on TNG uniform with nothing. Can we transform it enough that we can? Let me just take it down and I can see if I can get this guy's uniform. We don't get the greatest view of his uniform. Here we go. This is the best view we get of this guy's uniform. Let me reshare the screen. This is the best view we get of his uniform. It's a TNG uniform from the first season. We could have just never seen this TNG crewman. The communicator's not different. There are no Kelvin changes. So I'm saying an alien's an alien is an alien. It doesn't confirm nor deny anything.
I thought he was Reman at first.
Yeah, then I saw the weird cartilage around the neck, and I'm like, oh, what's going on with that? I interpret this as somehow you've cheated death once more. Admiral, we know where Spock is. We can send one person to where he is. You should be that man. It is kind of a Cochrane. The structure is sort of like Cochrane's place. I mean, they're implying again, like that sort of a thing.
It launches with Gary Mitchell, who I take it as that Gary's
congratulations
for what he did.
I said Mitchell, that when he's had enough time in whatever state he's in now. And by the way, congratulations for being first. Yeah, whatever state he's in now, he's able to. He's been rehabilitated. He's had enough time to think it over, half a century.
Yeah, he kind of and by the way, that was Gary Lockwood. He's still alive. Gary Lockwood keyed in for that.
Yeah, he's 87. Okay, so M5 is sure here. It's Yor, the alien from the Kelvin timeline that went to the Prime TNG timeline. It was shown in Discovery. All right, if he's specific to that, he's specific to that. The thing is, him being here still doesn't throw anything out of canon or confirm or deny anything. Captain Kirk is in a very ethereal place. He's in Star Trek's Fields of Elysium. Am I right? I mean, this isn't heaven. That's not very, what wouldn't be very Roddenberry-esque if there was angels and harps and stuff like that.
The thing, the best we're going to get is a multiverse where they can kind of touch each other. And I think that's what this thing is telling us here.
I think this might have been also hassle avoidance. Like, they'll leave us alone if we do a couple of things.
Yeah. They didn't at least.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Harp on it.
Gerald Burke is
as good
correct.
As we're gonna get. Let's put it that way. We got 99% of this was classic Kirk.
What Gerald Burke, I believe, is correct. The symbol on Savik's gown, and welcome, Gerald, is the IDIC. Infinite diversity, infinite combination. Spock has one on his table when Kirk arrives. Say goodbye. So that's what they are. They're IDICs, and that's why they have them face down because they don't want to show. Or we see hers a little more, but they're a little stylized. I thought they were trying to push the Trek logo part of it more. I don't know. I may have just had that wrong. You know, like that's the thing. We have this now. It exists. No one's fighting it. No one's trying to make it go away. It's not going to be like Troops and become hard to find like that Lucas stuff. I would like to hear a Star Trek expert on that one. You are.
Curtis did with it for this.
No, I didn't see that. What did she have to say?
Look it up. She talks at length about doing this, and it was very nice. She had a lot of really nice things to say about Leonard Nimoy and Shatner, and she was just like, I loved getting back into this role, and you could see it in her face. She didn't say anything, but my God, she acted so well in this thing.
Yeah, and the presumption here, I guess, would be that this is out of time, so she's either a wraith or it's future ghost Savick.
Right. Yeah, because the Spock's son was old too.
Right, and that is done beautifully with the gesture. He would be old, but he probably wouldn't be dead.
No, but like where people some say when you get to the afterlife, everyone that you know or have known is there, whether they're on Earth still or not.
So here we have
there.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like kind of he's just there, and they're I don't know. It leaves everything open to interpretation, which I think is really cool.
Are you like moving back and forth away from your mic because your volume seems to go up and down a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I'm not I'm turning my head. Sorry.
Oh, don't worry about it. I just like sometimes, the volume's like up and down. You can watch it here again in about 10 more minutes. We'll watch it for the second time. Let's see. McCoy is 137 in episode 1 of TNG. I thought it was 120, but okay. 45 in season 1 of TOS. I'll take your word for that. So that would be doing some quick math. That's 3,000 years. What is let me think on this one.
Yeah, I'll be right back. Give me 1 second.
Well, 3,000.
So 92 years. Is it 92 years?
But it's a little closer, yeah.
Yeah. Generations and First Contact have a thing in common. They didn't happen. I'm willing to forgive First Contact because it gives us this. If it canonizes this, I'll be happy to say First Contact happened. It's the only good thing about First Contact now, except for the Kirk part up front, which was great. This is the Reddit thread. Let me take a look at this one and see what these Redditors, these Reddit bastards ate you alive, Germ.
That's okay. I get my revenge on them.
They will feel. Sean, did you know that one of the comments was that when you spoke, when you said "wreck havoc," when you spoke those words, you misspelled them.
Huh?
In the comments, one of the comments said, "It's wreak havoc." It's wreak havoc. WREAK, right? And you were speaking colloquially, and like your regional accent played in, and you knew exactly what you're saying, but you said you wreck havoc, and like I might say it that way too, and they're
Point
like,
taken.
But what was funny was the person spell checked you for speaking. And I was just like, that was the only comment. I didn't know what to say.
That's
anything to. I was like, I have to interact with it because it's the right thing to do. So I'll give it a thumbs up. And I don't know what to say to this one. Like, your terrible grammar when you speak has to be addressed, man. We got to fix Sean's spell check. Teleporters would make STDs a non-issue. Just saying. Yeah, you know what? That's my assumption. And that that Heisenberg filter, whatever. Like, can you imagine cleaning the biofilters of the transporter? Imagine that job, like Chief O'Brien, like, we had Riker through here.
Hey, I'd rather that.
Imagine the Riker's been through both. Commander Riker beamed the board from Ricer and went straight to the holodeck.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Were you lagging behind a couple of minutes? I'm sorry. If you hit rewind, you'll see us again, and you'll probably be caught up. But like, we're going to do the movie again in 8 minutes because it's so short. It's the same thing that you saw on X. The story about I got to try to find this one. Let's see the Reddit thread, and I appreciate you finding that for me. Let me see if I can track that down on Reddit. Meanwhile, though, here we go. Reddit, by the way, this is Guy Rando Gringo on Reddit. He's great. Let's see. Too dope. People on Reddit are loving it, by the way. On Reddit, it has 543 upvotes on our Star Trek. A Reddit from which I am banned. Unfairly banned. You know?
What'd you do? Did you express an opinion?
They're Stenos, Sean. Star Trek in name only. They don't really care about the needs of the many. If they cared about the needs of the many, Admiral Teag's very popular posts about Enterprise would be allowed on there. But no, they had to ban me because I think I said something bad about new Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, your shipment is going to arrive tomorrow between 2 and 6.
Oh my gosh, cool. So I should be home at that time. Or if I'm not, I'll be getting a taco. But it's cool. And today I got a new deck, so my audio hopefully is better. Every time a YouTube payday comes by and you guys reward me with your generosity, I try to take some of that and invest it into making the show better. So today we got better stuff for live streaming. And last month we got a couple months back we got the editing software. That took a little while to pay off. All right, the shit's not cheap, unfortunately. But we will be talking more and taking another look at this. And I think some stuff from Unification might make it into the Admiral Teague opening credits at some point when we redo them. Because to me, here's the question for Germ before he goes. Is this Star Trek?
Definitely. As Bill Shatner attached it, that's enough to make it Star Trek.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We didn't have the music. Any more points you want to make about it, and then you can go right ahead and promote where you're going and promote what you're doing. So I know this is your exit time, right?
Yeah.
About to stick that. Okay. I'm trying to be better with that stuff.
Yeah, hopefully this actually spurs a good future for Star Trek, and we can get away from the, let's just call it, monotony that it is right now.
It is terrible now.
Yeah, hopefully that and the corporate changes they're making. I think it's a promising future in the next 5 years. I think we see some good things.
Okay, and where you, I know you're going to watch the Waltons with Gorilla, right?
Yeah.
Feel free to put that in the
season
chat if you want.
4, episode 1.
Hey, okay. So, JRC, hold on in the pattern buffer for a minute. I see you're forming up anyway. And Germ, throw that in the chat. You have the ability to highlight it, so go ahead and do that for me. And it is true that JT met Critical Drinker. Unfortunately, the line for Critical Drinker was so long. Did you hear he wasn't able to meet Will Jordan? There was some guy named Will Jordan he wanted to meet too. He says they're just as popular. He said that meeting Critical Drinker was just like meeting Will Jordan. I don't know what he meant by it. I don't know. I wonder if Will Jordan has blue teeth like the Critical Drinker.
I see okay. Tony's in the chat there too. Hello, Tony.
Hello, Tony. All right. So do you want to highlight where you're going or highlight your channel link before you split so that people can know? And we'll be showing Unification again in just a couple of minutes. What is this?
That is the Walton's discussion that going to catch it on the replay after you get done here on Admiral Teagues. And I have to get going. Take care, everybody.
We love you, Germ, and we'll see you tomorrow night for Detained.
Right.
All right. We'll see you next time, buddy. Bye. That's my pal Resolute Germ. He'll be back for the next exciting episode of Star Trek Enterprise. All right. So this alien is a little bit of a problematic as far as if we want to say that this totally discounts the Kelvin. The thing is, while we have a Kelvin alien in it, and he's a specific Kelvin alien apparently, and I'm looking at the Reddit thread. That's a hell of a thread. The good thing about that Reddit thread, I can't get into it now. I'll have to look at it later. But the thing I'll say about that Reddit thread is, we got people talking about Star Trek in a highly positive way, something that we haven't seen in a hell of a long time. And it is a little bit of an amazing thing to see Star Trek that good, and people having these really good Star Trek conversations, much better than we've been used to having in the past, and much more familiar conversations. What did you think of just the story that we got and the unification with Spock? Were you able to kind of suss up or interpret what the hell they were trying to say?
I've interpreted. That's the cool thing. I've probably watched it 7 or 8 times by now.
Me too.
Maybe more. And every time I watch it, I get something a little different from it. So I'm not sure where I'm going to end up with it. I just know that it's an amazing piece of film, and it's something like this. They were talking about on PCB where films like this get Academy Awards for short films.
It should.
It really
should be in the running. It should absolutely be in the running.
I did see that it has the little
radioactive,
the Roman numeral thingy in there, and it says this motion picture. I mean, it would qualify. I think they could probably put it up. Wouldn't that be something?
And imagine that, and you know what? It would probably be a strong contender. It's very well made. It could be put up in several categories: technical category, best story, even despite the fact there's only one line of dialogue that is more narration or inner monologue. So saying there's no dialogue still technically true. And this is just my Reddit in case you want to try to get with me there. And JRRC is grabbing some coffee, and now I think he's ready to be beamed on the bridge, or I'm watching the private chat. JRRC, when you have that coffee, you let me know, and we'll beam him right up. He's being debriefed after encountering some Borg drones down on the planet. What can I tell you? But he'll be here for our second showing. That's what's great about having something this short. We can watch this twice and really enjoy it. Look at this. Oh, fuck this alien. Look at that. I'm going to take the risk here. Watch William Shatner's level of expressiveness.
Oh, yes.
That should be safe. We shouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
It's also, well, that doesn't matter. It's 100% of it. It's just that it's the amount of time. It's the amount of time.
Obi2 has a comment there, like,
hey, I'm so far behind.
Oh no, I was just looking right there in the current. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. I started the chat that I have to go back to.
Confirm and promote New Trek. I'm not. Perhaps you're right, Obi2, but I'm gonna.
It leaves it hanging in the air as much as anything else. Yeah, I think that we're free to ignore. Like Doomcock completely ignores the Star Trek Generation stuff in it. To which I say I have never ignored Star Trek Generations. I just said it sucked, and I would say this bails out Star Trek Generations, and now I'm saying. Though not a good story, we got Unification. It just took 30 years for the movie to pay the fuck off. Talk about a long time. And hello, Radioactive. We got this one for you. I improved my audio capacity so I could say, hold on, Acolyte. I think we had the richness of the clap in there the second time when I got it right. But yeah, I'm doing my best with that stuff. And let's see. Hello. And let's see. I don't watch Generations anymore. The movie Generations. I don't find it overly compelling, and it's a shame because it should have been one of the best Star Trek movies. And I think what we found out was it should have been done as like a 3-part episode or a 2-part episode of the show, maybe even intertwined with. Would we have had to do time travel, or could we have somehow intertwined James Kirk with Unification? With Spock, the TNG Unification, not this one.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I took the name Unification just to mean that Kirk unified with Spock again.
Right, and the thing with Ensign Colts. Well, they're watching the sunrise of a new world, a world our comrades sought to protect and saw fit to protect and nourish. Yeah, right. It's everything
I like
in
how
there.
They're facing it together, like they both look. The sun's coming up. And Kirk gets that little subtle smile. Shatner is able to smile with his eyes really well, and he did in this.
Yes, the smile has to. It's a smile, and we've all met people. They're called strippers who have no smile in their eyes, but one on their face as we hand them some of our pay to do a not so great but very satisfying dance. What can I tell you? They're not good dancers. I interpret this as somehow you've cheated death once more, Admiral. We know where Spock is. We can send one person to where he is. You should be that man. I think I read that one already, but it's very worthy. The pre-show chat's live. Feel free to go there. Doomcock's gonna be on. We have this scheduled to go till 9:30, and I don't think that he's going to mind people celebrating Star Trek. You know what? He's the biggest Star Trek guy on YouTube. He's his own Star Trek expert, and I loved his feedback on it. But this is the time that I have to be on the air. There's not much I could do about this one, and we get our chat here. Okay, you got that Janeway Nebula brew. Let's bring to the bridge yet another person who's been on our show before. Absolutely great guy. We totally love him. He is the great JRRC 99 US, beaming directly to the bridge. Hey!
Wow.
So you said you had notes.
Yeah, the last time I got beamed aboard a starship was at the Star Trek Experience in 2006. That was actually pretty cool.
Oh, so now you know what? Snotty beamed me twice this morning.
That's right.
You know what? You said you had notes. So like everybody, this is JRC 99 US. He's a great friend of ours in the program and a great patriot who loves America and a great friend who's always good counsel and will tell you a couple of things from the good book that'll make you feel better. Great guy.
Amen.
We'll stay away from politics today. It's a day for Star Trek, but we could take a moment for that because this is about the afterlife. Yeah. And I think we see an afterlife that comports well with what we were taught. And you said you had some notes. I'm just going to let you go. You and Sean, take it away. Be unrestrained.
All right, so let me flip through this virtual notepad I have. Flip. All right, so so the thing is that for the longest time I caught word of, how do you say, is it Otoy, or do they just say it like Otoy?
I've heard it pronounced Otoy.
Okay, so anyway, I saw I kept seeing their like deep fakes, like of like Spock and of other characters, and I was like, what is this? I mean, especially seeing like um classic characters come back. I was like, what is this? Well, anyway, so I saw the unification. So anyway, I started taking notes. One of the problems is that I was seeing that what was it, her name, Yeoman, who has the number, is it Colt? Colt. Yeah,
she's
that's it.
in the cage.
Yeah, she's in the cage
and the
so
menagerie.
Yeah, so the funny thing is, so I have lots of notes. So one of the thing is, first of all,
redhead one.
Yes,
she has exceptionally strong female drives.
Yeah, she's a very pretty girl.
That technically they all did back then. But
anyway, she may also have been like, was she also sort of a well-known actress too?
I don't
remember.
I'm sure they were, because it was very common that you had actors and like musicians. Like take Frank Sinatra, he was a musician, but he was also an actor as well. So they just kind of big thing. But anyway, to get back to the notes, so the first thing is that I started noticing in the kind of the beginning, they show like what looks like the what is it, the panel from Q Card season 3.
The Daystrom Station panel confirming. Here's the thing: the Federation of Roddenberry never takes Kirk's DNA. That's too fucked up.
It is. Well, I didn't even, I think the thing is that Section 31 was added to DS9 just as a kind of like a kind of like how you add a thrill to a thriller kind of thing, kind of like give it a little oomph in the story. But anyway, so we had the panel of James T. Kirk, apparently his DNA, and then they had Yor, which is supposed to be that character from,
everyone's talking about him.
Yeah. So the funny thing is that a lot of people,
I want to just point something out about Yor. I've been thinking about it since he was brought up.
Yeah.
What does Yor do except hand the Star Trek logo to Kirk? As though to say, I don't, this is something I shouldn't even have.
Yeah, exactly.
This is yours, not mine.
Like symbolic that they're handing it back to the.
I think so. It would have been better if he tore off his TNG badge too, but it would have been. All.
But, well, the funny thing is that everybody was like, I remember hearing about Yor from like all the reviews of the STD, and how that he is apparently he's like a traveler, but he's not just not another.
He's also
traveler.
A different species. Yeah,
he's also interdimensional, so he can travel between the dimensions. So
what was our first travel? Interphasic.
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, the first traveler from TNG, from Where No Man Gone Before, I think so. But
don't tell anybody, guys, but I'm interphasic. Sometimes, I'm phased between both worlds, like Lazarus, and there's another Teag here. That's the one who sent all those crazy tweets. It wasn't me.
And so I was thinking, so here's the thing. So some people were saying, brought out the story. It's like, okay, we see some elements of New Trek in there, but if Yor is supposed to be an interdimensional traveler, then it pretty much kind of proves that he went to another dimension. Meaning, like, maybe New Trek is another dimension. It kind of gives off.
Or the other dimension came to him, and he's like, "Check out this nightmare world. We got your shit back from it."
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
That's what something along those lines. But also the other thing
is all of the above.
Yeah, but I was thinking because oh no, it's fine. But I was thinking because Paramount gave their blessing for it, that they would probably want some elements of New Trek in there. So apparently, it's Gary Mitchell and Yeoman.
It's very little. It's vestigial New Trek.
But it's supposed to. But somebody, maybe it was Doomcock. I think Doomcock pointed this out, that that Gary never initially physically died as we saw him, and he evolved. He came to a new stage, and maybe he could also do interdimensional traveling as well. And it would make sense that Yeoman Colt, who went with him, would be would be able to see, okay, maybe she walked through New Trek because she was walking through another dimension, as well as like Yor was going through the STD verse. That's what I like to call it, the STD verse.
Wait, no, you're getting Ensign Colt confused with the other chick who dies at the Where No Man's Gone Before. Ensign Colt's the cage.
I'm sorry, that's the cage.
I forget the name of the chick from it's Sally Kellerman, but I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. Well, anyway, but she was the one who could, but they have this ability to travel between the dimensions. So I'm thinking like, well, if they're traveling between the dimensions and Paramount gave kind of like their blessing, and so in a mix between the story here and reality is that I'm sure Paramount said, hey, put in some elements of our Star Trek in there so that way they all tie together. And I'm like, the only way this could tie together is if interdimensional beings can travel between the dimensions. And it would make sense that Yor would show up like maybe in an afterlife, kind of like how Q would show up, in Picard's afterlife and Tapestry, that it could be somewhat of like, well, he went to another dimension, and so did Gary and oh wow, now I'm stuck. But anyway, but they all went to, so they were just interdimensional. So yeah, well, but that's what I'm thinking.
I'll tell you, I'll tell you that what I took from the Gary Mitchell thing, because he's the first thing we see. Yeah, I got the impression that Gary Mitchell is the one who started this whole thing, opened the doors enough for Yor to come in. And when you see him, he closes his eyes. I think this is Mitchell atoning for what he did. He's like Teague said, he's evolved. He's a little bit wiser. He's had time to think about what he did. And I think he makes all of this possible for all of these things to come together. And maybe it's like opening doors, and Yor sees, oh, okay, there's a door. I'm going to go in there.
Well, Mr. House Party 6, I want to thank you for welcoming people to the chat and thanking people for the super chat. That's awesome of you. I think what we'll do is you could try to fact check this one in real time, as the expectation here is you've seen this already because it's a week old. So what we're going to do is we're going to special edition it. But like, if any of you out there feel like, just watching it, we're not going to do anything about it. There's no point in putting on subtitles. It would actually ruin your experience if you have reduced hearing and you cannot, and you depend on subtitles. Take my word for it on this one. You don't need to have the visual, and this is deeply visual. There's only one line of dialogue or one line in this of narration, and it's Kirk saying, Spock said there were always possibilities. If Genesis is indeed life from death, I must come back to this place again. And that's not the line from the movie. The line for the movie is Genesis is life from lifelessness. So I believe that's a new line for this.
Yeah, actually that was he's just quoting, it's just Kirk's log at the end of Star Trek 2.
But instead of saying life from death, which is, remember, Genesis was not life from death. Genesis was life from lifelessness. So I believe it was a new line, one written because that makes sense in the sense of, if you write a line and I use it in my movie, I must pay you. So if I change it, I'm set. So it's just like, it's like chicken soup for the copyright fee. You don't have to pay one now.
Oh, you mean 25%?
Trying to.
Yeah, you don't have to give them anything now.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Maybe they weren't trying to reference the movie, though. They're trying to actually reference actual Genesis. Like, I think they are being reborn. They are returning back, and they're going to continue on in some way after that.
Biblical Genesis, life from death, though. Biblical Genesis is there was nothing and then there was light. So I think it's specific to this, and they just wanted to get around. Remember, this, I don't think this was so much written by guys who mostly write. I think this was special effects guys who had a relationship with Shatner, who talked to him mostly about what they could do, and the story was something that people discussed until someone teched it out. This was a storyboard story. This was not. And they're like, we think you can do some great stuff with your eyes right here. That's what I love about it. It's like, it doesn't wipe away or reconfirm anything past generations. You can have, and you can be agnostic on whatever you see. Exactly. But we see things, and it's great that we see them, and we have no problem talking about them.
Yeah, this was definitely storyboarded, but it was done in such a way where it's like the viewer can make up their mind as to what's going on, why they're there, where they're going, what the words mean when he says life from, you can interpret that in so many ways. Like you said, and it's so wonderful.
I want to address this chat just a little bit here because it might be true. Is the lack of a super duper hot chick mean that it's not actually Star Trek a little bit, right?
Well, I mean, they did bring back Robin Curtis, but she's kind of up there in age.
She's still hot.
They aged her a lot for this. If I was saying earlier, there's an interview that she did.
They aged her more than she's aged. Yeah.
Look up the interview that Robin Curtis did for this short.
In the sense, though, she's playing a like a Vulcan who's passed on. So, like, is there any human you wouldn't have to age because she has to be 200?
Yeah,
And people are saying hi to you, JRC, or JRC is saying hi to Mark Harkness, and M5's out there saying, if you put them together, it revolves around cold. You know what? We're going to have a chance to watch it again. And it's only 10 minutes long. We're not going to watch the end credits. They're extensive, and these CGI guys deserve credit. That's why the description of the video is in here. I've taken it off the screen, so I know that I'm not going to copyright hell. And we're going to play it for you. It's 10 minutes and 44 seconds. We jump right into it, though. Sean, have you seen voted in the poll, and have you noticed that the link for the Cosme is located above the poll? And if you're on X, the link for the Cosme is located in the pinned post.
Okay,
if you're on X.
One moment. Don't start it yet.
Don't worry about it. We're not going to start it for a moment.
While I'm going there, I wanted to point out if you when you guys watch this, put earphones on and hold them tight. Turn up the volume. When they get to Kirk, the TOS Kirk, if you listen really carefully, you can hear the bridge sounds from his ship.
Yes.
Now hearing the police finding out the copyright issue right now. So
they're finding out that Teag showed some Star Trek stuff. Yeah. Just in case you guys are having trouble finding the pinned post or whatever, I just threw the link into the chat again. It's no big deal. Go ahead and enjoy yourselves. If you're on X, it's the pinned post in my bio, or it's pinned to my bio. And if you're on YouTube, it's pinned to the top of the chat. And this is we are a Star Trek channel. We might be the only Star Trek channel right now, for all I know. And we are the largest Star Trek watching community I know of, and we used to be the largest New Trek watching community. We don't do that anymore. Yes, Admiral Teague, life from lifelessness is Carol's line. Okay, thank you.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Although I think that Spock does repeat it.
Does he?
Or does Kirk say, as you heard, it's life from lifelessness? He's like,
yeah.
What if this thing would be used where life already existed?
If only we had a way to look it up on the internet.
The thing is that, like, those sources on the internet, we've all heard our pal R.M. Briggs talk about how Wikipedia is a disaster, especially with temp and usage.
I don't know. I think we're talking about universal Armageddon here. You green-blooded, insensitive, inhuman. Sorry. I just threw a line there. So, yep.
You know what? We are talking about universal Armageddon. Let's take another chance to watch it. Everyone's in the theater. Let's go on 3, 2, 1, and action.
Action.
On this 10-minute Star Trek film, which starts with the words on screen, how we deal with death is at least as important as how we deal with life. And my comment earlier when I watched this was that this immediately was confident by having an explosion. Oh, is that it? No, that's Kirk says that to Saavik during the Kobayashi murder test.
There he is.
All right, I just confirmed Kirk's line is life from death in the movie.
Okay, thank you very much.
Check.
He might say it from in Star Trek 3 when he takes over the Genesis proposal.
Hey, look, Coruscant.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I don't know what this place is.
I think that's Mount Saleya.
No, that's not Mount Saleya. That's not Mount Saleya.
It can't be because, like, it's too alone. It might be where the Pon farr happened, though, based on the new edition version of that.
And I think that's Apollo, the statue. I think that was Apollo.
People were saying Athena. They made sure it was good and worn out so we couldn't guess.
I guess so, but
I was thinking, like, why wouldn't it be Mars, the god of war, or some philosophical god for Kirk, or Poseidon for Kirk?
It was the first thing I thought of. Was like that was Apollo's statue.
Why wouldn't it be Poseidon for Kirk? Is Soran Dr. Bashir's uncle? Or was Malcolm McDowell related to Alexander Fidel? The sound design is really good.
Yeah.
This was my first mind blow was seeing Robin Critters again as Savick. That was my first.
I was like, my first thought was Amanda, but then she turns her head and I'm like, no, it's Savick. And I was like, okay, that's definitely Spock's son. And the facial expression conveys it.
I thought she was going to start talking right there, but then she closed her mouth. It was like, I remember that part. It's like, oh my gosh.
Just great acting.
Yeah.
And if you have low vision, again, you do not need to see eerie music playing.
Yeah.
If anything, if you have bad
That's
hearing,
right there.
This is for you. I meant to say if you have reduced hearing. I apologize to those who have low vision. I misspoke. God. No one really likes the TNG movies.
I mean, I give
hated.
I give props to First Contact, but that's about it.
I can process everything up to First Contact. After that, I was like, I don't care. I aggressively
Believe it or
don't
not,
care.
I know I'm going to sound weird, but I did kind of enjoy Nemesis a little bit, just a little bit.
Are there Star Trek names on this? Does these two go to the island? This part was cool.
This was amazing.
Here's the bridge sounds right here.
Yeah, I hear it. That's incredible.
I think Doomcock not only doesn't mind, but is here in spirit. We left the chair for Doomcock.
Yeah. Well, he's busy right now.
He's busy. No, it's like, when we leave a chair for Jesus. We left the chair in the corner for Doomcock.
I tell everybody Doomcock's the real Enterprise D.
Right. Welcome to the D generations coverage of this.
Yeah.
That was really cool and very 2001.
Yeah.
It's like right there. It like right there. It's just perfect. It shows that Kirk has accepted where he is now, or like accepted his.
Or maybe he had a choice of which version to go.
There we go.
He has perfect muscle memory when he puts that badge on too. He knows exactly where it belongs.
I'm actually hearing a heart monitor in the background right here. I'm wondering if this was Spock's deathbed and Kirk came to meet him on his deathbed.
There's another Idic. I thought it was a Kolinar, but it's not. Why he's drinking Earth water? I guess it just tastes better.
Well, and apparently right there, that's the picture frame that's from
the Star Trek Beyond.
Yeah.
That's what people said. Yeah, that's what I thought. That was the only possibility I could come up with because M5 had found it on Reddit. M5 with the superior sensing abilities had scanned deeply into the threads of Reddit.
And this
what happens when you have a supercomputer for a fan? I started to cry.
This is where I lost it right here.
Yeah,
I didn't weep. I just was tearing.
Oh, I was.
The weeping was after.
Oh, I was trying to hold my mouth shut because I was crying so hard. Like,
especially the little eyebrow raise he gives. It's like that's all he had the strength to do.
Yeah,
right here.
And it's so Spock.
It's just a little.
See, some people said this is new Vulcan as per the JJ verse, the Kelvin timeline. And I don't think so, because it looks like Vulcan, like actual Vulcan.
The only time they're not facing us is the final moment as we go into the sun. And I love this kind of reverse on they ride into the sunrise. They bring the sun to them. They've reached the stars. The stars are reaching back to them, was how I felt about that.
Yeah.
And I don't care about this number. All right. So that concludes our second viewing. There's nothing more after this. There is a really long credit sequence. We'll show the fact that it is for Leonard Nimoy. The link to this is in the chat. They use great Star Trek font, just like Pet for Hire did use when he made my logo. But all right, back to your notes, and I'm going to turn off the stimulation for now. But wow, that's as close as this world gets to a holodeck. You know what, Sean, and JRC, I read this at the top of the show. I'm going to assume that we've had some turnover in audience, so I'll read it again. From the conclusion of Enterprise on May 13th, 2005 to November 17th, 2024, precisely 19 years, 6 months, and 4 days have passed. That's a span of 1,016 weeks and 2 days. For nearly 2 decades, Star Trek fans have wandered through a creative drought, yearning for the profound storytelling, philosophical depth, and exploratory spirit that defined the franchise at its peak. In those 19 years, the franchise offered many attempts to recapture its essence, but nothing succeeded. That is until now. In 9 minutes, Unification feels like Star Trek. And it's the only real Star Trek since the lights of the NX-01 were dimmed for the last time. It's a revitalization, a singular piece of artistry that respects both the lore and the universe and the intelligence of us, the audience. I felt deeply respected. This is a moment crafted not just for entertainment, but for catharsis. A return to form that bridges the golden age of Star Trek, the promise of the golden, brighter future. To see William Shatner as James T. Kirk once again, stepping boldly into the undiscovered country, it's not just nostalgic joy. It's a reclamation of the franchise's heart and soul. For those who felt its absence keenly, Unification is a feast for starving fans. It's rich in reverence, stunning in visuals, and with a profound meaning. It's an acknowledgement of nearly 2 decades that we've spent adrift, and it's a triumph. It's a moment worth celebrating again and again. And with this, we're reminded that Star Trek can still inspire, captivate, and unite, rekindling a fire that's burned in our hearts for generations. And we should let this be the moment where we go boldly forward once more. Gentlemen, I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, I can't top that. That was absolutely perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was.
I spent about an hour and a half writing that.
That was really well done.
That was really good. That was really, really good. So yeah,
I feel that this was saving Star Trek. We won all year this year. We saw the end of the stupidest Star Trek show. We didn't see any more Strange New Worlds this year. We got a break from that nonsense. We saw some cartoons that we could easily ignore because they suck anyway. And then we saw, except I heard some good things about Lower Decks. And we didn't get the Kelvin movie. We didn't get Section 31. What did we get? We got Unification. And the fans were unified for once. Although I'm sure there's some haters out there. It's like the misogyny of Captain Kirk was only brought back by the goodness. It's, who knows what some wacko woko making this bad right now.
Speaking of which, I've been following Tim Russ on X, and
he's out of his mind lately.
He is nuts. But the thing is, he posted Unification, but this is what he said. He's like, a Trek story for Trek fans. I think he felt like he had to be forced to say something about it, because I know he's part of that group of Star Trek alumnus who are just absolutely insane.
And you know what? It just shows. You know what this video shows? We don't need much. We don't ask for much.
No.
One line of dialogue.
And look how they tried in the movies with killing Kirk, swapping the death scene in Star Trek 2, and all the fake rebuilding the Enterprise A and the Kelvin timeline has no meaning because that ship was not a character. We didn't care about it.
Yeah.
This thing in 8.5 minutes
when we see it being rebuilt,
tears.
When we see it being rebuilt, aren't we rebuilding their second ship too? Like, don't they trash the first one completely in the first movie?
Yeah,
it's crashed into an ocean, blown out of the sky. It's totally fucked up.
Well, I'm like thinking. Well, I'm just thinking like what Gene Roddenberry said that the whole point of the show was, and in fact, even back then, the Star Trek cast, like from TNG, DS9, everything like back in the day. They were all pointing out the fact that Star Trek wasn't about just the future. It wasn't about like cool sci-fi tech or the ships. It was about people. It was about the people. And this just proves that's absolutely right. When you can unify an entire fan base behind not only it's like not just the same lead
character. The only sign of TNG was he's not Kelvin. He's Trek TV, because Trek TV doesn't play nice with Kelvin.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was like thinking, like you take the architect, the cornerstone of Star Trek character.
Thank you, Dr. Denner.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it is Dr. Denner. And you take the cornerstone of Star Trek characters like Captain James T. Kirk, and you just put him into. I mean, like the thing that everybody is pointing out. It's like they didn't say anything. The only dialogue we got was just a refresh of Kirk's final log in Star Trek 2 before the end credits. And they didn't say a thing. I mean, we thought Robin Curtis was going to speak. And then she was about to speak, but then she just kind of closed her, gave a smile and closed her mouth. And I'm like going, that's it. You don't need words. You don't need fancy dialogue. You don't need anything like that. We all know. I mean, I've been a Trekkie for 36 years now, and you don't need to like have big fancy or like try to sound like how people like to try to sound.
Here's the Ensign Colt, by the way, guys. This is Ensign Colt as seen in the cage in the menagerie.
Yes, that's her. And the thing is that apparently she also had capabilities, like supernatural capabilities as well.
She had super feminine drives.
Yeah. Oh, you mean that feminine?
I would date her. I would have dated Ensign Colt, and just so people know, I guess she was in other stuff. Here she is again, but here she is. So she lives. She's still around, I guess.
Pretty lady,
yeah, nice old lady. Very grandmother.
Yeah, her attributes are strength and vitality, and unusually strong female drives.
What do you mean?
We watched her. We tapped into her personal computer. She has been on Pornhub 15 straight nights in a row.
So, there was something I wanted to say about this thing. If you look at New Trek and everything, what has the theme of it been? Been a lot of woke stuff, a lot of sci-fi stuff. But this film, what was the theme of this? It was friendship. This whole
that friendship, loyalty, and sacrifice come together at the final frontier once again.
Yeah,
friendship, loyalty, and sacrifice once again in the final frontier. And you know what? We could share the screen to present a little bit, a moment of it. This is one of the less amazing moments of CGI because he's not that close to the screen yet. But as he approaches our point of view, he just looks better and better.
Mm-hmm.
He's sort of further away. The details come into play as he gets closer. The subtleties of the face acting were absolutely great. And I think when he's in that weird cave, for a minute there, I had the Last Jedi flashback of that weird cave with the mirror images in the water, but something meaningful happened there, unlike in TLJ.
That thing where she snaps and you hear the echo. Is that what you...
Yeah. It's like every man, and I don't know if every woman has been through this, but like we all, there are two things that every man can relate to. Sean, and go ahead, JRC.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I forgot to mute. I actually did.
Oh, okay.
I burped.
There's two. Yeah, don't worry about it. I did it before by mistake too. I keep trying to mute. I'm sorry, guys. I'm doing this on caffeine and soda. What do you call it? I think that this was a pretty damn good rendering of him. And when he gets in there close and starts doing the subtle acting, we've never seen anything that good with CGI before.
No,
This was
only aided by CGI. It wasn't developed by it. That was all Shatner.
The one thing we did have going on here was we were kind of married to William Shatner's vision of what he looked like at 60.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a little bit thinner than he actually really was, and Doomcock said, as he said, his face is a bit thinner than he remembers. I think this is just because William Shatner was like, "No, I was handsomer than that." And like, but we have a bit like, "I was thinner." I gotta tell you, the camera adds 10 pounds. Take them off with the CGI. But I don't care. I don't care that he had a slight CGI facelift and a slight CGI weight loss. I will say this: we're talking about de-aging and CGI. They de-age him here. My thought is William Shatner simply hasn't had another facelift since we last saw him in this movie.
That is very true.
But when we see the de-aging of Picard and Riker in Picard season 3, their faces are very cat-like and weird. And my impression is that Picard's had 2 and Riker's had 1 facelift since the end of those movies.
Well, the technology is also getting better by the week.
Not on that show. I think is we didn't have accurate life models to scan of Riker and Picard because Jonathan Frakes and Patrick Stewart are no longer accurate life models of the older versions of themselves. They would not look that way. Their features are not where they would have been. So even were the de-aging good, and it wasn't because they were shiny and smooth, they had cat-like eyes and faces the way a person with a facelift does. They didn't compensate for it. They didn't think it through. This, like, William Shatner just simply hasn't had a facelift since then. His face is more or less reconstructible to this level.
Well, it's also smoothed out because he's a little more puffy now.
He looks more like Wrath of Khan Age Kirk than he does Generations Kirk. He looks like somewhere between 50 and 65. He's supposed to be in when he enters the Nexus at 70, I guess, 67 to 70. Was that what we figured out?
In Star Trek 2, he was turning 50.
Right. So a year passes before Star Trek 4. Star Trek 5, we can't really count that chronologically. It's better to just go to 6 and say they've been out there like 10, 12 more years, right?
Yeah.
No, officially, I mean, they say like the trilogy is 2 through 4, but then they probably add the quadrilogy with 6. So, yeah.
The thing is, by the time we get to 6, by the time we reach the 6th quatrain, Nostradamus has said to us that James Tiberius Kirk shall be pulled into the Nexus, which is a bad plot device, but 30 years later, we got this. And somewhere on the line after the bad Star Trek that we rescued, Star Trek Generations rose like a half star. Doomcock, I know, said he didn't watch it and has no idea that. Hey, that was a good joke, though. I'm sure he saw the movie because that movie stunned all of us. We thought it would be good. So I'm sure he saw the movie. I'm sure he saw the movie. That was very good, truthful hyperbole where he was very funny. Where he was like, I heard something about the ultraviolence guy going back in time.
Yeah.
So the
first part of that was good. The part with Enterprise B was good, even though Cameron from Ferris Bueller is the captain.
Hammond wasn't too bad. What I kept saying
earlier, dude, he literally told Kirk, "You're my hero."
Yeah.
Captain Kirk should be your hero. You know what one of the problems was in Star Trek Generations would have been, I would have done this to my movie. What do you think of this? Harriman, you're looking well. It's been a long time, Captain, but serving as your tactical officer was the bridge that was the bridge that brought me to this bridge, and I am not worthy to sit in the chair that you trained me to take. Harriman, I've always liked you. That would have been fucking great.
Or what if Harriman gave him the speech that Decker gave me? He goes, "You told me how envious of me you were when I got this command. Well, it looks like you found a way to get it back."
I'm taking the center seat, Harriman.
Yeah.
Well, Alexander Siddig is Malcolm McDowell's nephew.
Wait, what?
Wow. You know what's really weird is that Siddiq Al-Fadil is also Malcolm McDowell's nephew. What are the odds? I'm Roddy McDowell's uncle. Malcolm McDowell is Tolian Soran. Alexander Siddiq is Siddiq Al-Fadil is Dr. Julian Bashir.
Oh.
Yes. Yep. Although the funny thing is that Alexander Siddiq was not always, he wasn't always credited as Alexander Siddiq. They had this like full. He's like, yeah, I was gonna say, like, didn't he have like 5 names or something like that? So I was like, okay.
And then when he changed his name, Alexander made sense because that name is prevalent in Indian society. Like their version of it is big, but I thought that Siddiq Al-Fadil, his name would be like Sid Fadil. You know what I mean? Like I thought we'd go with that much, but did you ever see a movie called Kingdom of Heaven?
Yes.
Did you think that movie? Did you ever see the special edition where they re-add the part where? Before the part where we see them riding into the village, it's outside the Hollow Suite, and he's like, Quark, just program this thing to take me back to the Middle Ages so I can be an Arab and have my own a personal warrior, and I want to be on the wrong sides of the Crusades. And Quark's like, all right, Julian. That part was cut from Kingdom of Heaven. It was actually an away mission. It was a holodeck episode of Deep Space Nine that got out of hand. Kingdom of Heaven. Well,
Alexander Siddiq is Egyptian, so yeah, maybe. So
that was a good movie. Just Orlando Bloom can't act. Look at side by side, and you can see the resemblance. McDowell is his mother's brother. I kind of figured that it was that had to be it because there's no last name in common. I'll defend
your father's former cousin roommate. Sorry. Sorry.
Well, you know what? When I will say this, he talked to his uncle about acting because when did anyone ever notice that when Bashir acts quirky, it's not that different from when Malcolm McDowell does his little crazy routine. They've talked about how to act crazy together. That must have been a great conversation. It's like, your new girlfriend Nana is quite hot. It's like, yes, I have some interesting pictures of her for you, Uncle. You'll have them in the mail later. But right now, I need to know how to play quirky because I've just found out that my character is augmented. It's like, oh, I have a few things. There's a few things you could try. First of all, take some LSD while reading the script. I always do. He's crazy. So you said you had more notes. Keep going. We have time to. We have a few more minutes to cover this.
Yes. Let's see here.
Yeah, no. Doomcock is an enormous Star Trek fan. He doesn't do Star Trek anymore because it's emotionally too upsetting. But he did this because it was good.
Yeah, well, he actually said that the reason he doesn't talk about Star Trek anymore is that he doesn't get a lot of views on his channel when he talks about Star Trek. Apparently, I mean, when he says he does a Star Trek video, he always recently he always kind of points out that he says, I usually don't do Star Trek videos anymore because people don't want to listen to about Star Trek videos. But he started his whole channel because of STD.
Yeah, he started his whole channel because of Star Trek. And he, if not for Star Trek, there's no Doomcock. I mean, he would be a great entertainer doing something else. He's a great entertainer, but they made him into the entertainer he is today. But I also wonder if it's not because they're really fucking mean and they're really fucking petty. And one of the things I've done is I've just embraced the fact that they're fucking mean and fucking petty. And I don't run AdSense during my live streams. And I leave the live streams without AdSense. And that's why that frees me to do stuff like what I did before. Sean, I don't think you were here before, but you know what? I thought that this was worthy enough that we could just add real Star Trek music to give it like more of a heightened Star Trek feel. Because when you're not going to monetize the stream, what difference does it make?
Oh yeah, I was here.
Yeah, right?
Oh, there we go.
What difference does it make? Now, because I'm not going to monetize the stream, when we talk about our Star Trek review, we have real Star Trek music. So go ahead. You had more notes, please. Feel free to riff away, and I'll just if you want, I'll see if I can align some of what we're seeing with what you say. But I will say this: all these people in togas and stuff, only one has a Starfleet-like uniform. I think that is Prime Universe. I think it's from the TNG movie. And I also think that maybe these people are the CGI rendering crew.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe.
probably.
Yeah, probably.
And people who donated to make this, because they don't look very much like actors.
I mean, I'm definitely going to stick by my thought that Yor is actually he traveled to the STD verse or the J.J. Abrams verse, because we all know that the STD verse is tied in with the Kelvin timeline.
How about this one?
They've proven that.
How about this possible explanation? The reason why we see this alien from the Kelvin universe is simply because Rod Roddenberry, who's involved with this, helps to put people to work on it, says, you know what, we don't have a makeup guy. The old guys don't do it anymore. Why don't we go right ahead and use my guy? We'll put a TNG uniform on the character. It won't be that mind-bending. It'll be suggestive, but it won't be definitive. I think it'd be a good way, because my guy wants to be part of this, and he'll do it for, like, scale. And that was like, fine. We have an alien. We need an alien. It's not Star Trek without an alien.
Hey, go dust off that prosthetic mask, that they threw in the corner, because, they don't make anything new anymore. So
watch this. What do you think? Is Admiral Teag the most badass Star Trek YouTuber when he does this?
Oh,
both the music and the images at the same time.
I know. I think you're violating.
Well, I
the
did what they couldn't.
Yeah,
no, I'm not violating. I checked actually. I have license to this. It demonetizes my stream, but from now on the first super chat, we play the Wrath of Khan theme to celebrate. You know what? Who gives a fuck now? We've broken through that undiscovered country of the stream's made a profit. People aren't going to go back and watch the celebration of unification over and over. They're going to watch unification.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you guys agree with me, but my recommendation to all fans was simply this, and I don't know. You guys can tell me how you feel, and then go on with your notes. Go to town. The best thing you can do is enjoy this over and over and over and over and over, and give it a thumbs up and talk and rant about it on Reddit and talk about how much you love it and tweet about it and retweet it and share it and thumbs up it and watch it again and give it 1 billion views and make it the biggest Star Trek thing that's happened since the end of Enterprise, or even bigger, and show that we don't want this bullshit anymore. I will say that we have had enough of Alex Kurtzman and his terrible stories. And this shows that Star Trek can still be saved. For all those who mocked me, it can be saved. Star Trek can still be saved. Look how much this did after all these years with just a few words in 9 minutes. Look what it did.
Can I point out one big thing about this?
Go for
that. Everybody said that Pucard season 3 was our return to Star Trek.
No,
I'm like,
not at all.
Y'all easily amused.
I was like going to say, look, it takes about 7.5 minutes, if not up to 10 minutes,
for a lot of damage
to see real Star Trek in 10 minutes versus new Trek for like 10 hours, because
And this was still heavily changed Star Trek in the sense that they borrowed the meta that we've seen Star Trek use before, but it's not a Star Trek original meta of 2001: A Space Odyssey to sort of visualize this afterlife. But that is the best sci-fi afterlife visualization that I can think of anyway. So fine. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyone want to comment on the rumor it's the V'ger wall, or just you want to rip through some more of those notes because you took the time to make them? We want to hear about it. This is a day of celebration for all Star Trek fans. Welcome. Welcome to Unification.
Yes, welcome back to actually see James T. Kirk being portrayed as the way we always wanted him to be portrayed in 2024. And I mean, because we haven't seen that since 1994.
I took down this Admiral Teague branding and put up Gene Roddenberry because he's happy today. Listen, breaking Star Trek news: Gene Roddenberry stopped spinning in his grave a couple hours ago.
Yeah,
it took a long time it took 5 or 6 days for the spinning to slow down enough, but he's finally stopped. And the tough part about that is they were using it to power part of California because it was green energy. Every time they're like, that's how they justified the DEI and other tax breaks to New Trek. They're like, it's generating green energy. Roddenberry's spinning at the speed of like light.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Powering half of San Bernardino.
After this film was made, half of the power grid in the California just suddenly shut down. So Yeah. That's great.
Exactly. So yeah, we made it clear about Doomcock. He is a great Star Trek YouTuber, and I will say this: I owe a bit of what I have to the fact that when I first came on here, I didn't know that you weren't supposed to piss on the electric fence, and that weren't supposed to. You weren't supposed to ice skate uphill, and that you weren't supposed to speak ill of the mountain people and the things that they would do and how petty they are. And like, if you have a large channel, the same amount of lurking, non-engaging accounts, and I think YouTube finally might have licked them, or the Mountain King doesn't care about the hill people who do the public hangout, can't fund these attacks anymore. If you had 700 people watching you like some real good YouTubers can have, and then you have an influx of like 400 fake lurker accounts, YouTube then starts to wonder if you're trying to pull something. You have to you lose hours of your life dealing with YouTube to make sure that they know you didn't do it. At least I can only speak of my experience. So if you're someone who depends on AdSense, Paramount is so petty, they'll take $0 to $700 to $1,000 of AdSense out of someone's pocket a month. If you have thousands of people watching and you have a live mid-roll, you're going to make a lot of money. If you have even, conservative AdSense on, you're taking hundreds of dollars away from creators. So I think that if we could give some of these other people who do streams on Star Trek, truth serum, they might admit that they also have had the bot swarm problem. My solution has been to just say they're going to do what they're going to do. They play their games. I play mine. I have to break YouTube terms of services to get kicked off of here, and I'm not going to do it. And you know what? There's people calling for my stream to be reported all the time. I've always lived life like I'm 5 times reported, so I never do anything wrong. It's easy to, do stuff like that when you have clean hands. But, I should represent that so we can keep talking about this. So, okay, I'm done. Let's go with those notes.
Well, you were talking about bots. Tony got botted last night.
Did it finally happen to him, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There were like 300, 400 people suddenly came in. And
did it top off the amount of people and keep correcting for when people came in left? So if it went up one person, it topped it off by dropping out a bot. And if 3 people came in, right? If a person left, it added a bot. When bots attack, they keep the top of the analytic very flat and fake looking so that YouTube will know it's fake. Well, so if he was running AdSense, there goes, up to whatever amount of money. And that's how they disincentivize YouTubers. But also there's a chance it's just the weather.
Well, luckily it happened toward the end. He was about ready to call it off anyway.
It might not matter.
We were doing karaoke anyway. So the thing was going to be deep.
That's going to, yeah.
But the bots came in, and then there were like 3 or 4 fake YouTube there were accounts that had a YouTube in the name and says, "Oh, your account's been banned." It was someone screwing with him.
Well, I've always said that the other possibility would be that it is someone who bought some clickbot technology that used to work 10 years ago. And once it stopped working for them, they turned it into a weapon and they just turned it on to other YouTubers to embarrass them. Yeah. The thing is that YouTube now can correct for that. What happens is the first few times when they don't know what's going on, they blank out your baseball card and it looks kind of embarrassing. It's like, like a 3-hour stream and no one watched. You know what I mean? So that's out of pride's sake, I kept arguing with YouTube, but that also kept my fat out of the fire because I was like, no, I want a real analytic on my show. I don't want, this attack analytic. And I think we've also seen that there are YouTube ion storms. You've been on, we won't name any names, but you've been on other streams where we've seen like influxes of large amounts of bots too, not just Tony's, right?
Sure.
Yeah. We might have to call those ion storms. And also when a lot of people join, you get a few bots swept up in that, and then your channel doesn't grow for a little while as you burn off some of the bots.
I take it as a good thing. If your channel's being the bots are being attracted to your channel, that means you're doing something right.
Yes and no. I think it's why a lot of people have to unlist their live streams afterwards. They just get ruined. But YouTube seems to have captured what's the current version of the bot or the lurking account. So it seems to have started to correcting for that, because what happens now is your analytic is weird for a day or two, and then it restores to what it should be, and it looks like it's supposed to, instead of being an embarrassment on the back of your baseball card. And I love my stats, but I keep saying go with it with your notes, but to pick up where you left off, and like again, like I'm going to go into moderator mode like I should, and we'll celebrate the end of this episode for a little while longer.
No, exactly.
Well, I have not much else to say about this, but I don't know if you guys have seen. Someone did a remaster of the Enterprise leaving space dock in Star Trek 6. Have you guys seen that?
Yes, Robert Wright.
It's phenomenal.
Oh, I think I might have seen that. It's cleaned up in 6 and 3G, 4K, right?
Well, they not only they clean it up, but they do a new sequence, and they throw the music from Star Trek 2 into it instead of the Star Trek.
Actually, Star Trek 3.
Was it Star Trek 3's music?
Yeah, they were using Star Trek 3's.
Oh, okay.
Like the opening sequences, right?
This is one of the moments. Watch
Yeah.
this for a second, everybody. Just so you could get a better look. Just check this out. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds. Just watch Shatner's face. It's not reacting. Let me do it the other way. Damn, we cut away too soon. Can hold it here for a moment. Look at that.
Yeah.
Just the subtleness. And it's very much the person we remember. This is very much our Captain Kirk.
Did you guys notice how good the facial expressions and body posture of the TOS Kirk that we saw for a few seconds in this thing? Like
Because
the way he's
William
standing.
Shatner is the director of that part.
Yeah, the way he's standing and the way he starts moving, even like the quickness, he almost like runs towards something. Like his reaction, even it was incredible. I was stunned. Like I think that's part of it.
It was utterly convincing in a way that Indiana Jones kind of wasn't, because Indiana Jones's body double didn't have the what do you call it? He didn't have the body language of Harrison Ford. He just kind of was woodenly standing there, as the face was kind of perfect. Oh, this once again was much less shiny and rubbery than we've seen in the past. Like, look how Captain Kirk is not shiny or rubbery at all here in full sunlight, which is the enemy of this kind of CGI.
Right.
Yeah. I actually get kind of flashbacks of if you ever seen Tron Legacy, when they try to
Jeff Bridges.
It's
so
not
bad.
Close enough.
But that was the first time that had been used in a movie, so I give them a pass.
True.
That's
why, and it was in a computer anyway, so it kind of like it kind of makes sense, you know,
that way.
Yeah,
you could tell yourself they saw it that way. There's yet another statue. I just don't know what the deal is. The statues, they may even simply be atmospheric enough. I mean, I don't know. Like, where's Adonias if that's what's going on here? But
it's I am Apollo.
Yeah, it's just like, Kirk, you took me off my charger, and I only had 2 bars left from messing around with your crewmen. What was he? Use a giant cell phone, right? I mean, he had a flashlight in the form of he could shoot lightning at you.
Yeah,
and that was about it. Let's see. David is in Stovall Core. Yes, David is in Stovall Core. That would have been a good one. What is this? We watched Star Trek Unification. Welcome, Putin's cat. Good to see you. Star Trek Unification is a 10-minute long movie, but it's really about 7.5 to 8 minutes of story, and it's mostly silent. It's very well done CGI. William Shatner and the Roddenberry estate cooperated to make it. It's an apology for what they've done to us, more or less.
Yeah.
Sam.
Yeah.
Yes, he is the unification for Shatner and Unification. He was in Battlestar Galactica remake. Oh, and Star Wars Force Unleashed 1 and 2. He looks like William Shatner. I've seen pictures of Shatner coaching him, and I've seen him like the way he looks in the uniform. He is a good physical match for the way William Shatner was portrayed. He films like William Shatner, and his body language coaching and his head orientation is being coached by the man himself. He knows what he's doing. He knows how he would play it. It's absolutely perfect. No, this is from the Roddenberrys, and this is from Shatner. This is the first non-blasphemy we've got. This is Star Trek. Unless you're talking about this comment here, which I don't know why that would be blasphemous. There's nothing wrong with him being in Battlestar Galactica, but he was a good likeness for Kirk. But he's in it for only the briefest amount of time. But man, that Kirk is super convincing. That seems to be what people are saying is the V'ger memory wall. Was there anything in your notes that you wanted to tell us that you thought was major, that gave away anything, or that was indicative of anything? JRC, I'm talking to you, mister.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I was actually going through. I'm sorry, just real quick. I was trying to find that link. Someone actually took all of the Otoy video shorts that led up to the unification, and they pieced them together to make like one long segment. I'm trying to find that, and I just had it. Sorry, I was a little distracted.
Do all of them have are all of them non-diegetic, no dialogue?
Yeah, I would say so. Like I said, I would show you, but I forgot. I didn't save the link. Gosh darn it! Unless maybe
what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
I have to say though, this is with 347 views. What a fucking successful watch party and 16 concurrents. We thank you all. We're just we're going to take a look at the poll right now. It's an incredible 49 votes. Can we get it to 50? Can we get it to 50? This way I could actually do the math and see how many people voted for each thing. I'll just do math, which is, I hate math.
Yeah,
I hate math.
Well, I'll tell you this. Last I checked, Unification has currently 695,000 views after 4 days of posting, and it looks like it's going up still.
And it's not getting ratioed. It's doing just great.
It's very hard to find too. It really.
It is hard to find. What happened is, I guess the Otoy people want you to see their other stuff, so it's on their site. You just got to look and look. You got, I think, put Unification. I accepted that apology. I thought it was fine. By the way, I will say again, I was told not to go crazy on Twitter anymore, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And since there's no more Twitter, it just won't be possible. But yeah, I accepted that apology. It was fulsome and it was for real. And I stand by what I said about people getting on there drunk. I mean, if you're going to use alcohol for your performance enhancer, in life or in YouTube, you're gonna, there's no sugarcoating it, and since I spoke out, all I've gotten is thanks and people saying finally someone's calling it like it is. I'm not talking about unwinding with a drink. I'm not talking about having one or two. I'm talking about using alcohol as a performance enhancing drug and making the kind of mistakes that were being made, and I stand by the original amp. It's like dabbling in the dark side. It's a fast and easy, sure shortcut to wrecking yourself, but you'll be noticed because the town drunk commands attention. And if you once you go down that path, it's going to hang over you like a bad smell at a Romeo and Al. And you got to understand that the only person who's going to show up is you. And then you'll get oddball drifters who've got nothing going on themselves, and they're floating around other people's streams like they're holding court. And that's fine, I guess. It works for you. But the problem is, especially for some hosts, and I don't have any problem with this, they have to do it. But, if you've got a family or a real life outside this screen, those kinds of people will seize the moment to grab the mic every chance they get. And they got all the time in the world because they don't have nothing else in it. And they're the worst thing about YouTube. But that's a different rant. But I was surprised to see that be sea changing, to get an enormous great response and to have so many views after the fact where people were watching the whole episode. So I didn't expect that to happen. So the gorilla apology was well done. And he also he swore off the drunk streaming, and I've watched his show. It's great. It's great. You can like or dislike the pundits on other shows. I'm not going to dwell on it because there was an apology. So back to this one, we're going to get ready to wrap it up here by saying, what was ours before is ours again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Trek
Never be taken
Discovery.
from us again.
No.
STD.
I am Admiral Teag, chief and son of chiefs. I will now speak our Yang worship words. Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of Admiral Teag's fugitive fleet. Its ongoing mission to seek out new life and new civilizations and to call out strange new worlds is a bad show. To boldly go where no stream has gone before. We love you all.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do you guys got going on? JRC, anything else you want to say? Because I'll unwind for 5 more minutes and let you have your say here. I'm feeling great. And we've got the first new real Star Trek in 20 years. I'm pumped. So, people are like, I can't wait for the Olympics. It's like, that's every 4 years. It's been 20.
Hey, I'm right with you. I think
1,016 weeks, Sean. Since the end of Enterprise.
Yeah. Oh, geez. It's the funny thing is that you reminded me they Enterprise went off the air 3 days before my birthday in 2005. So I was like, geez.
Great show, by the way, Putin's Cat. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Thanks for dropping by, buddy.
Yep. And I would just say, like, I think just the 7. Once again, I just got to point out is that this thing, the whole show, the actual showing is just like honestly about 7.5 minutes. And it sparked the flame that we thought went out, and it was still there, regardless of
the Orville kind of proved that it was still there.
Oh yeah, and speaking of which, we've also pretty much have a little more confirmation that season 4 will begin production in January. So
nice.
We're staying by for season 4. Apparently, it's happening. Yeah, Scott Grimes, who plays Gordon. Pretty much, I think, accidentally revealed it at the last Comic-Con or not Comic-Con, but the convention in Las Vegas, I think.
And we're not going to say anything, but one of our West Coast boffins tells us that since the scramble to film like crazy, there's been no more filming of Star Trek Academy. And I won't call it by the real name because they search AI to come after people. So calling it Star Trek Academy is just a better idea. Actually, love you guys.
Look. I look, the one thing that made me laugh was that everybody's like going after Pew Card wrapped up, they're like going, oh yeah, we're gonna have Star Trek Legacy. And I'm like, what'd you call it? And like, oh yeah, Star Trek Legacy is coming. I'm like, Star Trek Legacy has been out since 2005. It's a video game. Can you guys come up with something new? In fact, it's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite Star Trek games I've ever played.
It's a great game.
Yeah, I tell everybody, if you ever haven't played Star Trek Legacy, go play Star Trek Legacy. It's phenomenal. Not Star Trek Online, Star Trek Legacy. It was awesome, and I still have my 360 copy. So I used to play it on my Xbox. So it's awesome,
guys. If that's it, I guess we're just about ready to wrap this one up. JRC, what are you up to as far as YouTubing and YouTube products?
Well,
YouTube and YouTube products.
Yes. Anyway, get your very own JRC merch and swag. No, I don't even have that. No, don't look around. I don't have a merch store.
Join my locals.
Yeah, exactly. Join my only. Sorry. Anyway, so
by listening for just 4 short years, you can hang out with JRC on a regular basis.
Yeah, I know. Weird. Well, I got some things coming up soon. Hopefully, I might be getting a studio built, but that's in the plans, but I don't know when that's going to be happening. So that way I could do a little bit, maybe more live stream, and also try to get my loud booming voice out of the house after the boys go down to bed. So that way I'm not waking them up in the middle of the night. In fact, Mrs. JRC99 is nodding her head. I can see from here. Oh, by the way, Admiral Teag, I'm so glad that you said that you were waiting for some coffee, because Mrs. JRC99 is from Connecticut, since she always says, and I love that. So she's like, yeah, I'm making some coffee. I'm going to cup of coffee. So she's laughing right now. So
welcome to Coffee Talk.
Yeah, Coffee Talk. That's exactly what. Yeah, in fact, my mom-in-law knew exactly what I was talking about. It's like, yeah, call 555-4444.
I call it walking coffee. Right? From New York. What can I tell you? Here's some fucking coffee. Make it black.
Yeah, but if you ever want to check it out, I also might be doing. I've been thinking of some planning. If anybody hasn't checked out my channel, my latest video is my Mrs. JRC99 US surprised me with my brand new, well, new to me, Toyota Tundra truck for.
All right.
So if you want to check that out, we're actually planning to do cross country camping trips, the whole family, and I might make like a kind of like a little vlog of that or something like that, maybe, but. I haven't made anything final, so yeah, it's gonna be cool.
And what's going on with you, Sean?
Look, I don't need you to tell me how good my fucking coffee is, okay? I'm the one who buys it. I know how good it is. When Bonnie goes shopping, she buys shit. Me, I buy the gourmet expensive stuff because when I drink it, I like to taste it.
Oh, okay. So you get K-cups.
No, that's that line from Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me my fucking coffee's good because I make the fucking coffee, all right? Yes. It's about the dead N-word in my garage.
What are we doing here? Here's what I'm doing right now.
Oh.
Well,
hello, Sean.
Hello, Dave.
How are you doing?
And I don't think it'll play. I don't think it'll play, but I have a soundboard that I'm going to put back here. So there's a speaker on there that I put. And I don't think you can hear it, but can you hear that or no?
Oh yeah, I can hear that. I mean, it's a little gurgled, but it's not bad.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Hal, can you sing me a song? That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. I love it.
That is so perfect.
Yeah.
I hope to have that done, and then this weekend I'm going to be starting painting the background for the Bird of Prey. I did the Bird of Prey model, but I'm going to do it a diorama like when it's on Vulcan at the end of Star Trek 3. So I've got a gesso board, and I'm going to do an oil painting for the back of that.
Cool. Oh, all right. Hey, familiar looking T-shirt. I believe everyone here owns one of those.
Oh, I got one of them. I should have wore it tonight, but I'm too fat for it. I gotta still lose weight.
Hey,
slice it down the sides and use shoelaces to extend it.
Hey, I'm gonna do the Captain Cisco real quick. Cisco to Defiant. Cisco to Defiant. You know.
Wait, hold on. You know what?
Trials and tribulations.
Here we go. We just turn on the. We'll power up the. Here we go. Get you some TS9 ASMR. There you go.
Oh, thank you. Now I'm at home. I'm at home.
You know what's
Have you ever just put that ASMR thing on and gone to sleep just with the bridge sound?
Actually, yes, I've downloaded those 8 to 10 hour like ambient sounds. Like the best one I found was the TNG Night Crew on the Enterprise. Yeah. That one's amazing.
Yeah, because it's very soft beeps and stuff. But the warp core is pretty nice too.
Yeah, well, the one thing they even added was like they added the sound of like footsteps, like people just walking across the bridge, and it just adds like oh my gosh, if I ever joined Starfleet and TNG and I worked the night crew, I'd be sleeping in the in the con position. It's like Mr. Kreider or Mr. JRC 99 US, take us to Vulcan. I'd be like, you know, yeah. So
is it okay if we bring soda on the bridge, sir? Keep it on the floor below the control panels. It's fine.
Definitely.
All right, guys. We've been right on it with the chats. We've showed you this twice. What a day for Star Trek fans. This was the only Star Trek release in the last 1,016 weeks and 4 days. What a terrible shame. Almost 20 years, 19 years, 6 months, and a few weeks. It's been a nightmare. We have been through it. The link to the episode of Star Trek called Unification. I'm going to call it that. It's an episode of Star Trek. The final episode of the original series of Star Trek is called Unification. It's only 7.5 minutes long. It's fantastic. And I guess everybody here, is there anyone else that you want to thank? I want to thank William Shatner for giving us this amazing thank you and this amazing consolation prize for all the insult we've been rubbed in. You have always stood up for us.
Well,
oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sean.
I want to thank Shatner and Leonard Nimoy's family for being cool with it.
Yes.
And I want to thank whoever it was at Paramount who let it happen and let us see this much Kirk without, they got the new Trek stuff out of the way in the beginning, and they let us enjoy it. And whoever made that call, I tip my cap to them.
Little more than vestigial. I'm not worried about it too much.
Right.
I could kind of live with it. I'll also say, so as far as your channel, Sean, you're good as far as promoting, or what are you doing?
Yeah.
You have okay,
and model guy, yeah.
Yep, and that other small show you're on, I don't want to mess with that small. I want that creator to grow. This cock guy. Tell people about the show.
I've been part of the recent crew of Pop Culture Breakdown on Wednesdays, which has been a lot of fun. And when they invite me back, I'll go on. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
What's this? Do you know what this week's movie is for them?
Oh shoot, I did. Yeah, it was something somebody suggested in the chat.
Doomcock, when you do Patton, please have me on one of these days when you get around to war movies, because I would love to hear that panel do a war movie. I don't think they've conquered one. They've done one yet. Maybe one.
Where Eagles Dare, I think they did.
Where Eagles Dare is a good movie. Gary and I had a conversation about it, and when I was talking about where Eagles Dare, where the eagle has landed, and he was talking about where Eagles Dare, and one is Michael Caine and one's Clint Eastwood, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, man. So anyway, that might be the worst Michael Caine movie too. We've got one more comment in here. Let's see.
Even more than Jaws 4.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. The worst Michael Caine movie is still The Dark Knight Rises. Admiral Teag, don't forget about Star Trek 1883, best Star Trek series in over 20 years. That is the USS Yellowstone, NCC 1883 and NCC 1923 are good ships. And I'm going to bring you another episode of one of them over the weekend. I don't think there'll be football this weekend with Bill because our buddy Outlaw Bill's not doing so good. Say a prayer and, hope that Outlaw Bill feels better when he gets out of the hospital. A few problems for our pal. And we wish you luck, buddy. Hopefully you're listening to us and feeling good on the mend. And let's see. Let's close the poll with 52 votes. Wow. Is Unification the greatest Star Trek in 20 years? Yes. A+. Yes, it's an A. B, 2%. All right. I don't care, 6%. I don't, okay, you're allowed. I mean, I did invite the possibility that the poll be trolled when I did that, right? But here's the thing,
I don't care.
You think you can troll my
Almost
poll?
got away with it, didn't you?
We still have something like 93% thought this was an A of some kind. So I'm okay with it, or 92%. And I don't care. Yeah. I mean, we had a chance B for a while there. I don't care. It had 0 and B had 0. People loved this. It's a high quality Star Trek show, and we're going to have sit down and talk about it when we've had a chance to watch it a lot more, because we're still unsure of a few things. It is really, really good conversation. And with that, even though it's been a night for Star Trek, I just don't think it's fair to leave these great fans without a little bit of Patton, followed by Sydney Sweeney. What do you think?
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go. Let's listen to the great. Even the, you can admire military men from the Army too. It's okay.
The Carthaginians defending the city were attacked by 3 Roman legions. Arab women stripped them of their tunics and swords and lances. The soldiers lay naked in the sun.
There's no video.
2,000 years ago, I was here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was here. I was there.
And this match will not be postponed. Admiral.
Thank you all. I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for coming by my show. Thank you so much for enjoying and chatting with me. Follow me on X. Follow me on YouTube. Help me make it over the hump to 2000 at 1994, which is ironic considering we're celebrating the 30th anniversary of Generations. We'll talk to you all later, and we love you all. We're advancing from victory to victory.